street to block traffic or block an egress. Now we have rampaging groups that go running through the streets that enter all kinds of facilities and violate other people's rights. And there's no one who's willing to stop it. When I'm the mayor, there are rules and regulations. Everybody has the right to demonstrate, but you can't violate other people's rights, or you yourself must be arrested. And I would remove the face coverings. Remove those face coverings. Why are you afraid of identifying who you are as a demonstrator?
I know.
Unless maybe you're
You want to see that through a little bit?
Thank you. Rosarina?
The next question goes to you, Mr. Mamdani. You were arrested for blocking traffic in a pro-Palestinian protest, and you participated in a sit-in at Grand Central. Protesters offered blocked streets, bridges, and hubs like
Come on, this
Grand
is some
Central.
bullshit.
How much
What
of
does
that
this have
would
to do
you
with trying to
allow
make
as
New York a
mayor,
better
and
city?
What's your line in having the NYPD arrest protesters?
I'm not buying
You have a
this.
minute.
This is ridiculous.
Protest is a part of what makes this city's history.
In Pennsylvania, fall is the real deal. Get lost.
Ads.
Oh man, you don't got
Man, that was quick.
You
Good job.
block Origin, Alex. That's what I use for ad
No.
blocking.
Well, then, like, extensions don't work,
Oh really?
right?
You have to pay
yeah,
for
like some
ad blockers, right?
extensions.
No, you don't. It's uBlock Origin is part of the like
Right,
Google
back.
Chrome extension that you can get.
The city and the world around them. And to
donate,
be frank with
but
you, what New Yorkers are looking for
Thank you.
is someone who can show
DM me.
leadership
uBlock's always
in City
updating.
Hall. Because when they don't see that leadership, that's when so many take to the streets. And if you had a leader like Andrew Cuomo, who was telling people not to overreact when they see ICE agents abducting girls as young as 6 years old to deport them, many New Yorkers will take to the streets. We deserve to have a leader who will actually be following through on the values of the city. That's the leader that I'll be.
Mr. Mamdani, just a quick follow-up. If you're elected, would you still participate in protests?
No, if I'm elected, I'll be the mayor and I'll be leading the city from City Hall.
But no participation in protests, right?
The important thing is to lead from City Hall. That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah. If I may
Really
respond,
silly.
because I believe my
Yeah.
name
God.
Yeah.
A very brief response, and then I have a question for you.
I dealt with ICE. I stood up with ICE. I had a war with ICE here
stood
in
up
New
with
York
ICE.
when I was governor.
You stood up with that.
And they moved out. What the assemblyman is saying is he doesn't believe in law and order. He believes in defunding the police, disarming the police, disbanding
we
the
have-
police. That's who he
Mr.
is.
Cuomo, we have to
Abolish
move on.
jails.
I have a question for you. Okay, 15 seconds
very
rebuttal,
quickly.
Mr.
No, we have to-
Mamdani, and then
we
we
have to
do
move on.
just 15 seconds because we have a question for Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Cuomo lies again and again and again. I am not running to defund the police. I am running to actually work with the police to deliver public safety. Andrew Cuomo says that he has stood up to ICE. He has not said a
We're
word
gonna
about
actually
the
get
abductions
back
that
to
are
this.
happening right now.
He's referring to a previous comment you made, and we will get back to this. But Mr. Cuomo, a question for you.
It's a comment he made. Is the operative
said
language.
that. Yes,
Yeah,
I
know.
understand. I said that. As governor, you put the National Guard on standby during the George Floyd protests. You didn't deploy them. As mayor, talk about how you would balance the right to protest with maintaining order in the streets.
The right to
You have 1
protest.
minute.
The right to protest is a sacred right. There is no doubt about that. But the law is the law also. And you have New Yorkers now who are afraid in this city.
Okay, 1 sec.
They're afraid of Donald Trump coming. They're afraid.
Want to mute this jerk off for a second and welcome in a couple of This Space contributors. This is Hank Thompson of Winners and Losers, responsible for the motion graphics I was bragging about earlier, and Sandy Lovis of Left of the Box. Hello, guys. How are you? Hello.
Hey.
We are initiating the all-in. We're basically just talking over these jokers and Zoran Mandami as they debate, quote
And we're
unquote.
condemning Hassan Piker here on this stream
They
because we
mentioned
are
him
the
twice.
only stream brave enough to do it.
Really weird. It's really weird. Anyway, feel free to just chime in. Yeah.
I'm here to give my very valuable Canadian opinion on everything.
There you go. Tell us how we're screwing up again from way up there or down there or wherever Canada happens to be. But feel free to just chime in at any time.
Presuming geography wasn't your strongest subject.
No, well, I know full well that Canada is America's cowboy hat.
Oh man!
All right, I muted him and then I unmuted it and it won't go
Okay, I
past.
got you.
Can you do it?
Mr. Cuomo raised about things you've said about police. You can do a brief response to that.
I have been clear time and time again
Dude.
that as much as Andrew
Tall
Cuomo wants
order,
to bring up
Bo.
tweets from 2020, which is around the same
Jeez.
time that he was sending seniors to their death in nursing homes, I am looking to work with police officers, not to defund the
said the
NYPD,
thing.
looking to ensure that officers can actually do one job when they're signing up to join that department.
But he's
not
okay,
the many
we're out
jobs
of-
we're asking them to
He
do
was
today.
specifically
with the mental
referring to
health
comments
crisis.
you made. We will come back to that, but we're out
said
of
they
time.
are
Ms.
wicked
Melissa
and
Farrar.
corrupt
Candidates,
and racist.
we're moving
That's
on.
what you
Thank
said.
you.
Your words. Your words.
We're moving on. Thank you. Despite
We're
record
moving on.
low crime numbers, polls show that crime remains a top concern for New York City voters. The three of you have very different approaches to crime fighting and how to manage the NYPD. We want to get into your plans. So we'll start with this question. It's a two-part question, but it's short. How will you make the city safer? And how will you change the NYPD? You'll have 1 minute. We begin with Mr. Cuomo.
I would add 5,000. Well, let's take a step back. Remember what happened. The far left, the socialists said defund the police, defund the police. They took $1 billion out of the police. The NYPD is
Eric
now down
Adams?
at one of the lowest levels
Yeah.
in political history. I would add 5,000
They
police.
added.
Put
Defund the
1,500
police
in the subways. Raise the starting
become a
salary
thing when de
because you
Blasio
can't
was mayor.
hire them. You can't even fill a class right now. And you have to add additional police officers because the attrition rate is so high. Part of that is going to be saying to the NYPD, I respect you. I don't think you're wicked, as the assemblyman said. I don't think you're
They're
corrupt.
wicked.
I don't think you're racist.
Wicked.
I mean, this
value
is-
you. I will have your back.
a matter
I'll be
of
a mayor
record.
to work with you.
You will
They're
definitely
doing-
have
That's how you're
the
going to get
backs
the
of
police,
women. Never mind.
to apply for the job.
They're doing this in
And then
Canada
we have
right
to
now with
work
the
on a relationship
RCMP.
between the community
Our
and the police.
liberal
The police can't
Prime
police
Minister
the community.
hiring a
They have
whole
to
bunch
police
more
with
RCMP
the
You're up
community.
next,
officers.
Mr. Sliwa.
This is amazing. I'm standing here with my two adversaries, both of whom have threatened to defund the police. You, Andrew Cuomo, during the summer of 2020, you said, if you don't reform police departments, I'm going to defund you. And you certainly said that, Zoran Mandami. We need 7,000 police. We only have 32,500. The problem in recruiting police, which neither of you are addressing,
For that, they
is
mapped
that
it.
their
I think you fumbled
insurance
that.
was stripped from them. The state, you did nothing when you were governor. And here in the city, 2021, the city council.
Bring it
and
on,
Eric
Jeff,
Adams
from
did
Good
nothing.
Morning Comrade.
They don't
Hello,
have
Jeff.
qualified
Jeff.
immunity, which you
What's up,
benefited
gang?
from, Andrew
Thinking my hands
Cuomo,
on my head.
with the 13 lawsuits filed against you for sexual
Chime in
harassment.
anytime. Try not to
Tom
cuss.
DiNapoli
Bosie's
says
mom
we're
is
paying out
watching the
$60
stream.
million.
Hell yeah.
Why?
Okay, well,
Because you had
Shiza.
your qualified immunity as governor, and yet people have stood by.
I was going for a little bit. I
Police
do
have
have
lost their
recording for
insurance that all
Dean
civil
speaking a little
servants
bit.
have. That's why you
yeah,
can't
have
get
to do that.
recruits in, because they're not insured. I will return their qualified immunity
Cuomo, quick
because they
response,
need to be
please.
protected like other
Yeah.
civil servants.
That is not
think
the
we always
case
don't
in
hear
New
about
York
that.
City
Ben.
on the
Limit.
qualified insurance, on qualified
300.
immunity. It's not insurance at all.
You are entitled to
It's
three
quali-
legal counsel, which is what he's referring to.
Yes.
You have spent.
Yes, but it's
Some-
New York City that has revoked qualified immunity. It's not insurance. It's qualified immunity. It's nothing to do with insurance.
Well, that
Thank
protected
you.
you in all
Yeah.
these lawsuits.
And
That's-
yes, the lawsuits, because there was a report filed. I said it was political. It turned out to be political.
Okay.
And that's why
All
you had
13
That's why you were
Hey.
lying because it
Come
was
on,
political.
All
Just
13
say-
women were lying.
After 5 years.
Some of
A
the
state
cases
trooper,
have
too?
still
Yeah,
been
after
open
5
and
years,
remain
5
open.
DAs, 5
That
years
would
of
be criminal.
litigation, I was
Mr.
dropped from the
Mamdani.
case.
They
Mr.
brought up
Mamdani, how
real
will you
life
make-
In a while.
to be political.
Mr.
I
Mamdani,
guess,
how
is
will
what
you
he
make
means.
the city safer, and how will you change the NYPD?
Thank you. This is the concern for so many New
Commanding
Yorkers,
presence.
and I'm proud to have a comprehensive plan to bring new ideas to this city. If you want more of the same, vote for Andrew Cuomo. If you want an actual approach to lower crime, look at our Department of Community
Well, he
Safety.
doesn't even
That is
address
something that
them.
has been hailed by experts as addressing so many of the pieces of why New Yorkers are not feeling safe today. We will ensure that no longer are police officers asked to do the job of both policing and responding to the mental health crisis. We will have dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers in the top 100 subway stations with the highest levels of the mental health crisis and homelessness. We will ensure that cops can finally go back to the response times they used to have in 2020, closer to 11 minutes, as opposed to the closer to 16 minutes today, because they won't be asked to respond to the 200,000 mental health calls that are coming in through 911 every year. This is evidence-based. It's been successful elsewhere in the country. It's time we deliver it right here in New York City. It's time for
Thank
a
you,
change.
Mr. Mamdani.
Zora
Now-
Mamdani, we already
Thank
had
you,
this
Melissa.
called the homeless
Mr.
outreach
I'm
unit.
sorry, this
Not
is
only
not
that, but
free
like
for all. We have
mental
another
health
question
calls
for Mr.
with
Mamdani.
Bill de
at this
people
Blasio
that are
point.
funded them by
Mr.
$3 billion
Thank you,
out of
Mr.
the budget.
social workers.
Excuse me, Mr. Mamdani, we're going to talk about disciplining police officers. The civilian watchdog that investigates police misconduct regularly recommends discipline for cops accused of wrongdoing, but the police commissioner often overrides them. You want to change that policy so that the board has final say. Please explain to viewers in 30 seconds why you believe the police commissioner should no longer have that final say.
What I've said is that I think it's time to remove much of the politics out of the question of accountability. We have the Civilian Complaint Review Board, which, as you said, studies, assesses, and investigates into complaints of abuse and the violation of the law. And oftentimes, those recommendations are then subject to political pressures and not followed through on. I think New Yorkers deserve a system where they know it won't then be assessed once again, that there's actually more to the recommendation in the investigation that's being done by the CCRB.
Okay, we're wrapping up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Just a
Mr.
reminder,
Cuomo,
we'll be
do you
here for
believe changes are
post-debate
needed
as
for
well,
how
everybody.
officers
We
are
will be here
disciplined?
for
And
most of
are
the
there any
night
powers that you would give up as mayor?
Stay with
you
us.
have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I would not remove the police commissioner from the CCRB. I'd leave it with the police commissioner. I think Commissioner Tisch is doing a very good job. I would trust her. The
We
difference
definitely want to keep
between
the
me and the
police
assemblyman
commissioners
is
in that
he
aren't
doesn't
charging
like
him.
the police. That's why he won't hire more
Exactly.
police when everyone else says we need more police. He wants to use social workers on domestic violence calls, which are very dangerous. And
Literally not what he
he's
said.
told you what he thinks. He
No,
thinks the police are
also,
racist,
too,
wicked, corrupt, and a threat to public safety.
showed up,
Those are his words.
Very quick.
when I
Mr.
attempted
Mamdani,
suicide, they
very
called the
quickly.
cops.
Andrew Cuomo is a politician of the
with
past.
their
and all he
guns
can speak
pointed
about are
at
the
me.
tweets of the
And I
past
said,
in
look, I have a
2020.
pair of scissors
Those are
in my hand.
tweets
I'm
which I have
assuming that,
apologized for to
you might have a chance to kill me right now, which is not what you're supposed to do. But I feel like a social worker could handle a situation. It just varies what the situation is. But there are social workers, people maybe who have experience with dealing with other issues, could handle something like that. But like, it's kind of ridiculous that people assume that cops could be the solution to every problem
growing up in this
with,
city
with a house call.
I would think often about
100%.
safety and justice and
You're
the
also
ways
joined
in
by
which
my
that
off-grid wife,
relationship
by the
has
way,
been
folks.
irrevocably
Hey, everyone.
harmed. When I learned about the
Hey.
exonerated
Hi,
five,
off-grid wife.
when I learned about Sean Bell, when I learned about Eric Garner, when I learned about Michael Brown, and then in 2020, when I wrote these tweets, learning about the death of George Floyd. And that was a moment where it felt as if the distance between these two ideals had never been further. And in becoming an assembly member and serving and representing more than 100,000 people in Queens, learning that to deliver justice means to also deliver safety. And that means leading a city
Mr. Mamdani,
where you recognize the
we have to
bravery
move
of the
on.
men and women who joined the NYPD and put their lives on the line.
Yeah.
It means representing the Muslims who were illegally surveilled in my
Thank you
district
so much,
and the
Mr.
black and brown New
Yeah,
Yorkers
I
who've been
know. All
right,
victims
thank
of
you,
police
Mr.
brutality.
Police
So
are bad.
Mr. Sliwa, you've been out there, you've been on the trains, and I would like to know if you believe changes are needed of how officers
Great
are
answer.
disciplined.
Let me just suggest.
Bring it on, the Angry
Zoran,
Ginger. What's up,
what
AG?
you
How are you?
suggested-
Zoran.
What's
Zoran.
happening?
Thank you.
This is pretty amusing so
Let
far.
me just suggest.
We're gonna get to
Agreed.
Hollywood Squares before you know it. Oh, I auditioned to be Paul Lynn in this situation.
Will endanger
yes,
women and children in
Sammy.
domestic
Where
violence
do these kiddos
situations.
know
I
who
know
Paul
I've been
Lynn
involved
even
in
is?
so many of them with the guardian angel.
Hey, here's the thing
They
about
will
me.
be
I
killed.
know a lot
They will
about
be maimed.
pop culture,
Number
classic
two,
pop
in dealing
culture.
with emotionally disturbed
Nick at Night
persons
Watcher detective.
that I have dealt with
It's my
for all my
strongest.
years
It's my
as a
strongest
guardian
trait.
angel.
People are like,
You
"Wow."
need trained professional
thank you.
police officers.
Thank you.
Yes, you can have
Wake me
mental
up when you
health
start
workers
when we
with
start talking
them,
about Get
but that has
Smart.
been suggested.
Yeah.
It was done before
Thank
by
you.
the homeless
Thank you.
outreach
We have other
unit,
grounds.
I'm just
and the guy
wondering if
who
it was a
thought
great
the best
idea to
thing
have the
Bill de
sign language
Blasio
interpreter in
disbanded.
front of a
Lewitt,
green
thank you.
screen.
Brief response?
Yeah.
To be very clear,
Who knows
the
what could
Department of
happen to
Community
that?
Safety is not
Yeah.
about
I
responding to
do
calls of
think,
domestic
yeah,
violence.
Wow,
I guess
okay.
it's
Okay.
contrast, but you're right.
Crisis and the homelessness crisis.
no.
These are the focuses of the work.
I could see this
All right,
in
we
like
have other
World
questions
War
for that a
II
little later
footage
in
or
the debate, but
something
we
where
wanna
they're
just change
just
the
doing
pace
that.
a little bit. Candidates, switching gears to the high cost of living in New York
the
City.
American flag with the swastika
To
in
kick
it
us off,
that
we have a
got
few
revealed
quick
that
pocketbook
questions
questions that
you
New
know.
Yorkers wrestle with daily. So we want to know how much
You don't need a
spend
green
week
screen
on
with the
groceries.
Republicans for
We'll
that.
begin with you,
This
Mr.
is
Cuomo.
cost
Yep.
of living.
It was AI.
Depends how many times my daughters come over, but probably about $150.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa?
Boo.
I'd say about $175 with a gallon of milk, now $5 and always rising up. Loaf of bread, simple loaf of bread that used
Thank
to
you,
be
Mr.
99 cents. It's like $3 now.
Thank
the
you,
price
Mr.
is too.
Mr. Sliwa,
It's
thank
too
you.
costly.
It's a brief answer. Thank you, Mr.
So
Mamdani.
old.
I actually agree with Curtis on that. It is too costly. Now that eggs are down to less than $4, though, my average spend every week is about $125, $150.
All right. Do you carry credit card debt or do you pay it off every month? Mr. Mamdani?
I pay it off every
What kind
month.
of questions are
Mr.
these?
Cuomo?
What?
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
Mr. Sliwa?
I don't have a credit card. I have a debit card.
Dave Ramsey
What
was
is your
here.
money average?
Put that on a t-shirt,
About
man.
So then how can he get a
Diners
job
Club.
without a
Not
proper credit rating?
subsidized there, so
Mr. Mamdani, what is your monthly rent or mortgage?
$2,300.
Mr. Cuomo?
He has a rent-stabilized apartment that a poor person is supposed to have. Mine is about
Oh my
$70.
God.
Yeah,
What?
a poor person is supposed to pay $2,300.
We're going to cover
What
that.
$300 a month on
Thank
rent?
Thank you.
No.
We're going to talk a little
In
bit
New
more
York,
about
Mamdani
the
is a
runaway
poor
rent in
person.
this city.
Yes.
Mr. Mamdani, you're pledging to freeze rent for nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments.
Did
That
Sliwa say he had a
affects less
Diners
than half
Club
of all
card?
rentals
Is
in the
that what it
city.
is? Or
What is your plan
AARP
for
card?
AARP, that's what it
rent-stabilized
said.
apartments but are struggling to pay the rent? What are you going to do for them?
Well, I'm proud to say that I, yes,
Rent
will
control.
freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. And I will also build
Fuck yeah.
200,000 truly affordable homes across the 5 boroughs over the next 10 years to ensure that tenants, whether rent-stabilized or market rate, can actually have more housing such that they are not being priced out of this city. And finally, I'm also going to make it easier for the private sector to build housing in this city, because what we see today is that it's not labor, it's not materials, it's the weight that is often costing so much to actually build the housing
Is that
we need
abundance?
in this city.
Thank you. And a
Yeah,
follow-up
it's
for you, Mr.
abundance.
Mamdani. The cost
That's
of maintaining a
abundance.
building
Just make it
change year to year for
socialized housing.
landlords. The Rent Guidelines Board is legally required to consider those costs when deciding whether to freeze rents. So how can you promise a rent freeze today before ever seeing that data next year?
You know, we've seen the data time and again. It's
But
data
next year's data.
It's been data that's been overruled by mayors again and again. The last Rent Guidelines Board study showed that profits were up 12% for landlords of those units. And what did they do? They raised the rent, adding to more than 12% under Eric Adams' administration. What I am speaking about is actually reflecting the needs of these New Yorkers and the state of the market today. These are New Yorkers who have a median household income of $60,000. We do not need to be pushing them further out of the city. We need to keep them in their homes.
Aren't you saying in that answer that you are going to prejudge? You will not have seen the data for next year and you're making a determination based on data you haven't seen.
Do you
I've
think
seen the
people are able
data
to
year
afford
after
a woman?
year of the fact that salaries are stagnating.
She doesn't know what
costs are up,
extrapolating
and
is.
New Yorkers can't actually afford their apartments. And I will also take action
Okay.
to actually ensure that the landlords of those
right,
buildings
we're
can
in
better handle
time.
their costs by
It
taking
is-
on their insurance,
It is
their
based
property
on
taxes,
annual
and their water
data,
bills.
and you
So-
haven't seen next year's data.
It's literally called
I do have a question for you
extrapolation.
on this subject. You have proposed
Is she
something
surprised
that
when
you
the sun
call
rises?
Enron's Law.
Yeah.
You think that
It's
Mr.
called
Mamdani
consistent
earns
data.
too much to live in his rent-stabilized
Jesus.
apartment.
What's that
So
thing
note
in the
that there
sky?
are
Oh.
no income tests
Statistics.
for
Have you ever
just
heard of
like yesterday.
statistics?
Apartments. But
Butterfly
critics say
in
your
the
plan
sky.
would force people to pay too much of their income towards the rent. So if you think Mr. Mamdani is gaming the system, what about the other New Yorkers,
Yes.
thousands of them just like him, who earn similar salaries, who are living in similar apartments? What
Okay,
would-
just to follow up on what Sally was saying, because she's
The
right.
rent is too damn
This
low.
is not a new plan.
We need that
Bill
guy.
de Blasio's plan. It was called Freeze the Rent. Bill de Blasio says the mayor can't say legally he's going to freeze the rent. There's a Rent Guidelines Board. There are certain considerations that have to be looked at. You're
Did
right,
they do that
Sally.
during,
You can't
COVID,
say
though?
today, but it's going to be in 4 years. Also, Freeze the Rent only postpones the rent, because then you have to have an increase to cover the costs. Otherwise,
Figured.
the building is going to go bankrupt. And it does nothing for the majority of renters who aren't in these rent-stabilized units. Does nothing for NYCHA. There's nothing for
Oh,
homeowners.
so
There's
rich
nothing for
people
people in black
Yeah.
communities who are getting priced
okay,
out.
I see. how
No,
this
no,
works.
the
what he's
landlord
saying.
has got to get paid.
Affordable
That's like the
housing
whole
all
point.
across
Is
this
if the
nation.
landlord don't get
I built
paid,
affordable
then why
housing
would
in this city
you?
when
Why
I
would
was in
you
my
have
20s.
any kind of housing?
I know how to
Affordable rent
get
is
it done.
bad
I
for
will
the-
get it done
Wow.
on the rent-stabilized units. What I'm saying is those are the precious units, And we
You're out of
should,
time. I'm sorry,
we should
Mr.
keep
Cuomo.
them for the
Get
most
to the
rent
question.
burden.
We have to move on. But I have a question for you.
No, sorry, he invoked me for much of that question. Just a very brief response
Please,
here.
very brief.
You know, you've heard it from Andrew Cuomo that the number one crisis in this city, the housing crisis, the answer is to evict my wife and I. He thinks you address this crisis by unleashing my landlord's ability to raise my rent. If you think that the problem in this city is that my rent is too low, vote for me.
Fucking
If
got
you know
him.
the problem in this city is that your rent is too high, vote for me.
If I understand
Oh,
the
shit.
Millionaires
your
subsidized
zones
housing.
would not evict.
Imagine
Mr.
thinking
Mondale.
It would not evict.
It would
200 is
apply
too
to
low.
people applying for
Those
Yeah,
sound like a
it-
But
really
the
big
tenant
move.
had to
Dude, did he
take
pay for
them.
these people to ask these
It would evict
questions?
No one.
This
It would
does
be
not
really
affect
good
any
tactic
limitations
to
I have
He's
to
using
move on.
gravel.
I have a
Is
question
he's
for
not
you.
engaging in the argument.
Say that again, Sandy.
he's-
What was the
he's on
tactic?
message.
What
like he always
Mandami is
is.
doing is he's not engaging when those two start to bicker and argue, and instead he's just staying calm and smiling to the camera. That's a
That
really
would
good
made a
move.
point of
make
talking
them seem
about
more
the struggle
confident.
of renters and property owners. Describe your plan to help renters and landlords.
Well, first off, we have 6,000 available apartments that the mayor controls in NYC.
He
and they've
looks
been
more like a
empty for
president
years.
without the beret.
That
Sorry, what's the
to address
population
number
in New
one.
York?
Then
bizarre.
we talk about senior
9 million?
citizens who
Looks
are
like a different guy
My
entirely.
whole goal is to improve and
I will
not
say
He's a
his
video
hairline-
game
I'm
president
concerned
with
about
it.
the seniors, especially
His-
those
his hairline
that
is
own
quite
homes.
unfortunate,
If they're
though.
65
Dude,
and make
Curtis
less than
Lewa was on Oprah, guys. He was on
$250,000,
Oprah,
no
okay?
property tax, because the property tax is way too high. We need to cut it in half to keep people
Property
who are
tax.
here. And then in terms of rentals, we have affordable housing that can be built in these huge skyscrapers. You see them all throughout Manhattan and in northern Brooklyn and in Long Island City, which we have 25 Empire State Buildings full of commercial space that will never be occupied for office space. We should be converting them into affordable apartments. They're in dense areas. The infrastructure can support it. I'm the only candidate here who's against the
Mr.
city of
Slewa,
yes
thank you.
that would
Mr.
destroy
Slewa.
residential
I have to
neighborhoods.
interrupt you because we have
Dude,
a
Curtis
programming
Lewa
moment
beat
right
Andrew
now. We're
Cuomo
about
in the
halfway
fucking
through
race.
the mayoral
Yeah.
debate.
Yeah.
Channel 4 and Telemundo
If you got
47
more votes,
will return to regular programming, but we got a lot to get to, and you can
Okay, let's
continue
take this
watching
down
live
for a
on
sec.
NBC New York, Telemundo 47 streaming and digital platforms.
Oh my God, man! They haven't really talked about anything besides. Do you condemn Hassan Piker? And
He brought up Hassan Piker twice.
Yeah, that
Why?
was
Really?
wild.
That,
Zoran.
that happened? That was a thing in New
Yes.
York mayoral debate?
Twice,
You're
because
talking
Yes.
about-
Hassan, for those
And-
of you who don't know, like my disembodied off-screen wife, Hassan once said, like,
America deserved 9/11.
9/11 because of what Reagan did. what Reagan did in the
Basically
80s.
because of American
funding
foreign
the-
policy.
Yo, he was a
Yeah.
young dude. He
He
was
made
a
the
young
blowback
guy. Young
argument. He
people
didn't
shouldn't
necessarily
have their
even
lives
say that
ruined.
he-
But like,
he made the blowback argument that American foreign policy led to the logical conclusion, which was 9/11. Like it was just
Got it.
because the
Okay.
U.S. is so fucking horrible, internationally and especially in the Middle East.
But taking that
9/11 was inevitable.
Right, okay.
yeah.
I was
He
working
said
at
this back,
UIT
like,
when that happened, and it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
It got everybody,
he was
everybody
like, yeah,
got
I
death
still
threats
stand
and-
by it.
What's up, Hank?
I was working at the Young Turks when he did that. I was in the
Yep.
office, at that time, and it caused a lot of stress for everybody because
Do you
of
condemn
the
homeless?
already elevated risk of mass killing at that place in general, just because of the nature of America. But suddenly, everything got real weird and real freaky for a few days. They had to, there's some more to that
Were
story.
you privy to any of the conversations between Hassan and Jank when he tried to make them apologize? Make him
Well,
apologize.
I know Dan
No,
from the
I
Web
didn't-
was working there too. I think because he was telling me about that too, and I was like, ooh.
We're back.
I was
folks,
there
with,
for the
free
meetings though. Like
buses.
Cenk came down and made this big speech, and his initial concern was the advertisers were upset. He didn't say anything about
Of
security.
course.
Yeah,
Poly
of
markets,
course.
bro. Poly markets can be so upset.
Yeah, old people
Providing
brought it up.
economic relief,
Wait
but
a
also
minute,
public safety.
we're like,
Because what we've
should we be talking about our safety? Why, but anyway.
Free buses. This
More
is my
later.
favorite.
I'll fill you all in.
more
I got all
than the
kinds
slowest buses in the country. I know that because I was on the M57 not too long ago, and its average speed is 4.9 miles
We're at
an
time,
hour.
though, but the question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares, and that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've put
How?
forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
We're going to move along.
Wow, New Jersey. Wow, a
positive
thing to say about New Jersey. My
But
home
Melissa,
state.
we'll move on to
Wow.
your question.
Could I address that on the buses? Because
coming to you
half
next.
the people don't pay their bus fare to begin with, Zorhan. And so it's it's a complete disaster.
They don't pay for
You
it,
have free
Zorhan.
bus fare, and the Citizens Budget Commission said just last year, 2024, $1 billion of
Mark
fare
the bingo
evasion
card.
in all different forms. This MTA
I still think he
system
should have
will
put Hassan
collapse.
on the bingo card.
There's not enough money out there to make up for fare evasion. Pay your fare. If you don't pay your fare, they have fare
you, old man.
programs.
That's
for the
what I
people
would
that
say.
can get it. But everybody should be
Fuck
forced
you.
to pay their fare.
Point at me,
you had
jerk
both
off.
praise and some criticism from
Pay your
Mr.
fare-
Mamdani's
pay your
free
fare
bus
letter hack.
pilots. You're sort of in the middle on this issue. What's your
Rich
plan
people
to
don't
make
have to pay their
subways and buses more
I
affordable?
think
30
free
seconds.
buses is a mistake. It costs about $700 million. Just to give you an idea that
Yeah, it is
we
a
only raise
mistake
about
for all the people who
$500 from
desperately need it
congestion
and
pricing.
could actually
It's
use
been
that fare
done
money
before in
to
other cities.
eat
It was a
food.
disaster.
The rent
They
is too
stopped.
low, and the buses
They
are too
basically
cheap.
became
That's what I'm hearing from Cuomo.
homeless, gathering places. What
Oh,
I
all the
say
homeless
is
will
free
gather there.
buses,
Right.
Build a website you love.
So this is just, you're right. It's the
Okay, we're
rent's
back, we're
too
back, we're
low
back.
and the buses are too expensive. That's what we're
Workers,
hearing.
workers got it too
It's
damn
been
good in this
tried
country,
and
and
it's
especially in
failed.
New York City.
Mr. Mamdani, can you just
Yeah.
respond quickly on
Transportation
the point
for the
about
public is a
mobile
failure.
homeless
So
gathering places?
never
this
works.
is something
We can't
that we
figure
heard
it
when we
out.
were
You
fighting
know what
to
New
make
York
buses
City
free in
needs?
Albany.
More
We delivered the
automobiles.
first
Yeah,
fare-free bus
more
lines in
cars.
New York City history.
Plain
Less
trains
What we
and
cars.
saw is when we
automobiles.
made one bus route free in each borough of New York City, there was no increase in homelessness on those buses. There was no increase in fare evasion in the surrounding area. What there was an
Okay.
increase in ridership of up to 38%.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
They're like,
Imagine
oh,
if people being able to get to work.
This.
That's
Get a
crazy.
sense of how all of you would pay for your big ideas. Mr. Mamdani, we'll start with you. We've obviously been talking about free buses. You've talked about free childcare, city-run grocery stores. So essentially, you're proposing about $10 billion in new spending. And as you've indicated, you want to pay for it with tax increases. But as Sally pointed out, Governor Hochul said no to raising income tax on millionaires. So tell New
He's ready
Yorkers
for this
tonight
question.
how you're going to pay for all of this in 1 minute, if you can.
Look, a lot of people have called even my campaign a non-starter when we first began. And now I stand before you proud
that.
to be
Look
the
at that.
Democratic nominee who got the
Democratic
most votes
nominee.
in city primary
that,
history.
Cuomo.
And I believe we will see the same thing with our push to ensure that we are taxing the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations the fair amount that they should pay. Now, there are those who will say that because it will be hard, you should give up. We saw what giving up looked like when Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He gave up on fighting for working class workers.
He hit his
And
ass.
what did we get?
He's so good at
We have the
this.
fastest and most frequent helicopter service to the Hamptons, and we have the slowest and more expensive bus service across the
Two
five boroughs.
chops to the throat.
But again, Mr. Mamdani, I know Governor Hochul indicated this week there may be some open windows, but more or less income tax on millionaires is off the table, according to the governor.
Look, I've said very clearly, making buses fast and free costs about $700 million a year. Making universal child care a reality costs about $5 or $6 billion a year. If you raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, you'd be raising
Okay.
$5 billion in and of itself.
I have a couple of
And
follow-ups.
I would
Sliver,
just-
you're next, but I have a couple follow-ups.
I would just add one additional thing. We have also put forward a plan to save money here in New York City with $1 billion in savings through procurement reform,
There
through
you
following the independent budget office's assessment about hiring more fiscal auditors, and in actually
Okay.
collecting the fines and fees from bad landlords across the
Let-
state.
Not to
just a quick
mention
couple
more
of
people
follow-ups.
going to
You
work
can find
means
some
more
of them,
taxes
but not all
being
of them.
paid.
Which of
Right.
your priorities
You can even
would come first?
combat
What would be the first
the
priority that you
hosts
would
while being
try to get
nice.
Well, freezing the
Yeah.
rent doesn't
Yeah.
require any fiscal
Yeah,
He
intervention.
doesn't.
So
He
that
doesn't.
is
Also-
He never.
immediately.
I've never
And
seen him
universal
lose his
childcare.
composure ever.
After
I've
housing,
never seen
People
it
not
happen.
understand, like, people always say, how do we pay for this tax? It's always
$22,500 a year is the estimate we've seen.
Okay.
That
Probably
would
didn't
be
need to
a
give
priority.
I just wanted
$700
to know
million in
if,
tax credits to
you could get the
Elon
money
Musk,
and funding
right?
elsewhere. Would you drop the call for the tax?
I think it was
increase?
900.
Absolutely. The most important
I
thing
beg
is
your pardon.
funding these
First
agenda items. I
trillionaire
think these are
come
the
right up.
two most important and
Okay.
straightforward direct ways to do so. But if the money comes from elsewhere,
Okay,
the most
thank
important
you.
thing is funding.
Melissa has a question for Mr.
Imagine
Stevens.
how
Mr.
far
Sleva, you've been
along we
talking
would
about
be if
cutting
we actually did
taxes
tax
and
people
spending.
that are
So
rich.
what is your plan?
Look
and
at-
how
look
would
at China
you pay
compared to us.
for your programs like
So
7,000
clean.
more cops?
Well, Zoran, boy, your fantasies never going to come about in terms of
Get
funding
rid of this
everything
guy.
I
that's
do
gonna
not
be
want to know.
done.
Get him his beret, dude. The old man needs his beret. Okay.
7,000 cops.
It's not gonna work.
The cop
I
isn't
think
what
actually,
we-
I'm going to push back. I think
gonna work
Sewell
for
here
him.
is
This
actually a
great
really good
plan
foil
in
because
which
he can
universities
just like
and
dunk on him.
others
He's
who have
not
bought up
watching general.
properties that are now taken from the real estate
foil.
market and taken from property tax paid. We could raise $1 billion from Columbia University, NYU, that are in the real estate business, and Madison Square Garden. Your friends,
But they give their money to
Andrew
Israel,
Cuomo, Jimmy
though,
Dolan,
no?
who pays no property taxes. That's how you raise $1 billion to get 700 police officers trained, vetted, and out into the streets in the 5 boroughs. And then
In
the
2
police
weeks.
will be on the subways,
enough.
and they will be patrolling the old-fashioned way
Isn't
where
the
they're
New
needed.
York
This
police
guy's
budget
obsessed with
already
subways.
bigger than
Moving
Canada's
subway
GDP?
cars.
He wants
Where
more
people
cops
wanna
playing
see the
Candy
visual
Crush in
protection,
the subway
especially
station.
women
Like,
who have been assaulted, perved,
He's gonna
and
get them
like
all
we
nice
saw
red
this morning on
jackets.
86th Street, a woman with a gun to her
Hey,
head.
don't steal that
an armed
RCMP look.
robbery
Thank you very
because
much.
we don't have
Mr.
enough
Cuomo,
cops.
I have a question for you in this
God,
topic, and
we got
let's
plenty
talk
of
about
cops.
history because as governor, you raised and cut taxes. Now you're proposing some tax release. What's the price tag for your proposals, and where will you get the money for example, 5,000 new police officers? You have a minute to answer.
I
minute.
think Sally's question was very well taken. The Assemblyman's whole plan is based on a myth. He's going to raise taxes. Albany's going to raise taxes statewide on corporations, but the money's only going to go to New York City. That could never happen. It's not just that the governor wouldn't support it. It's impossible. He said he's going to raise the taxes the same as New Jersey, corporate tax. No, it would be double the tax. You would see New Yorkers on 995 fleeing to Florida. We would be alone.
To Florida.
Okay,
No, I mean, all the time.
okay, bro.
You have a $115 billion budget. You
Like a
have to
right-wing
go
talking
through
point
that
right
city
there.
budget and find savings. I started the state, which is double the budget of the city, at a $10 billion deficit. I closed it and added services. And we can do the same
We're going
with
to
New
mention
York
sexual
City.
harassment.
Governor, as mayor, you would not increase spending?
I mean, we're going to mention Zora Mamdani's quote-unquote
There would
anti-Semitism.
be, whatever additional
Yeah.
They
spending
did
would be
mention it
revenue
earlier.
neutral.
So
It's
you find
impossible.
money
You got
somewhere else
to
in
cut. You got
the
to cut taxes for people to stay here.
Thank
The
you.
corporations are
David?
not going to
Yes.
stay here. They're
Okay.
being lured.
That's
by
bullshit.
Sweet.
The cities that are more corporate.
More
friendly.
cops
You gotta
and tax
cut the
cuts for
property tax.
corporations.
Thank
That
you.
sounds
Income tax.
amazing.
Those
The
who are
more
19 to
expensive the
28
travel
with skill
fare.
levels
Thank you.
if they go to school here.
Thank you, Mr. Slewa.
Andrew Cuomo thinks it's all right to spend $60 million to fund his legal defense from accusations of more than a dozen women of sexual harassment. But if I say we should spend the same amount of money on delivering cheaper
Because Andrew
buses in the
Cuomo's
city
Trump
through a
Jr.
pilot
All
program,
right, Mr. Mamdani.
that
Thank
is
you.
unfathomable.
Quick,
David,
and then
I
we
have
got
a
to move
right
on.
to respond
yes,
to that.
quickly.
First, I did not bring those lawsuits. That was brought
They
by
were
a
brought
report
against
by
you.
the Attorney General, which I said was
God, this
political.
guy.
Well, those
That's what
lawsuits were filed
generated.
by
It was
individuals.
political.
My
He's Trump
fault
Jr.
that
Jr.
people tried to
Making their way
get
through the
after
courts
me
this
for
year
my
and
Yes, and I've
mistake.
been dropped from the cases.
Not
That-
all
okay.
of them.
Yeah. And
Not all of them.
What the Assemblyman doesn't say is all this money that he wants to pass. The one thing he did do
I need
is
that
he
money
voted
for
for a
sex
pay raise
lawsuits.
for himself. They're the highest paid
We have to
legislator
cover
in the
Christ.
United
Fact check.
States.
I did ask
And
the
he has
state
the worst
controller's
attendance
office
record.
this
Of a man
week.
who
I
knew
did
he just
ask the
killed
state
somebody on
controller's office
stage.
this week. The total was above 60 million.
Also,
But
too,
just those
Cuomo
sexual
downplayed
harassment
getting
cases
these
to
women,
defend
which is what pisses me
Governor
off.
Cuomo and his staff was about
And
21
those I know who are voting
Sorry,
for
was
him.
the
million
sexual
dollars.
harassment?
You realize
I just
what
want
he's
to
about,
clarify
right?
because
He's
you
just
said
another
60,
Trump.
but
All right,
on those
we-
cases
yeah.
it was 21.
Okay.
All I'm saying
We
is
have
I've
to
never
talk
seen
about quality
Trump
of
and
life
Cuomo in the
city.
same room at the same
Let's
time.
turn to everyday life in the city and some issues a mayor can directly impact. We start with a couple of questions about 311, the number New Yorkers call or text for non-emergency help. First off, have you ever called 311, and if so, for what? Mr. Mamdani?
I called 311
Solid question.
For issues with my heating in my apartment, and I've spoken to New Yorkers time and time again who
Is
are
he really
frustrated by
trying
the
to
fact
say,
that they
is
can
he a
track
relatable New Yorker?
their Uber Eats block by block, but when they call 311 for them to come to their apartment, it's just a question of hoping and praying that they do. There's no actual appointment. That's something that we would change.
All right, Mr. Slewa, have you ever called 311?
Real fucking
You know, there
answer.
used to be that song 911 is a joke by Public Enemy. 311 is a joke.
Well, don't
Did he
forget
just
to
quote
play-
Public
It's
Enemy?
awesome. I love
Play-
that.
The critics
It's
are
not
Old
fair.
white man
operators
that's
talking
talking
to
about
us.
putting more
Have you
police
called-
on the street.
Yes,
Just
I
quoted
love
public
Flavor Flav,
enemy.
I
man.
love him.
No
I love
responses.
Curtis
All
Lee was so
citizens
much.
I
He's
talk
so
to
Okay.
in subways and streets
Oh, shit,
never
man.
get good
Thank you, Mr.
responses
Sleeper.
from 311.
Jeff, don't be
People
fooled
like
by the red
Flavor Flav
beret,
just
dude.
wants to put the Backstreet Boys in the Rock and
I
Roll
can't
Hall of
get
Fame.
enough
and I
of
don't
it.
care for it.
311 myself to see if the complaints were bona fide.
Look at the cat. Can't really
And
see. There's a
stuck in
cat behind.
I was dropped twice. Then they were going to send someone to help a homeless woman in distress.
That would
and
be
no
me,
one showed up.
Tinkerbell.
You're all expressing frustration. Last year, 311 received 38 million contacts from New Yorkers, from calls to the website. Wanted to know if you had a sense across the 5 boroughs what the top 2 categories of complaints were. What do you think they were, Mr. Sliwa?
You could probably mention crime as one
potholes,
sort, just because.
constantly
Cat.
potholes.
Cat.
Potholes.
People's
Old white man
undercarriage
answer.
ripped out, ball
Another one?
bearings,
Second one?
alignments.
Second one, top 2?
Rats.
Rats.
Oh,
Okay.
the city is flooded
I
with
thought,
rats.
wait, I
Mr.
thought
Cuomo,
they won the
what do you
war
think
on
the top
rats.
2 complaints were?
Homeless and trash rats.
All right, Mr. Mamdani.
Wow.
There was
Did
housing
he have
and
that
noise.
written down?
Okay, so the answer is noise and illegal parking. And we're
Ah,
gonna
shit.
call it
Legal-
like-
Mamdani, 1 and 2.
That's right. And let's talk about noise candidates because they fall into these 2 categories. First of all, is the residential one. That's the neighbors and the loud music. And the
Imagine
second
living
one
in New
is
York
the
City
street or
and complaining about
sidewalk,
noise.
everything
Like,
with the
yeah.
loud
New York City,
construction
it's like,
and
fuck.
workers outside.
Imagine.
So, Mr. Cuomo,
I mean, it's like the
as
people in the
mayor,
French
what
Quarter who live
can
around
we
the
do
French
to help
Quarter
the
who like
city
complain about the
that
noise there.
never
It's like, what the
sleeps
fuck,
get
man?
a little bit of rest, Mr.
Yeah.
Cuomo?
Yeah, look, I think if the 311 system worked well, if there was actually contact with people, I think New Yorkers would get it. I think New Yorkers would be responsive. I think we have to change the ethos in this city, the ethic in this city. Right now it's toxic, it's divisive, everyone's angry at everyone. I think when
It's
we
New
have
York.
public safety that's functional again, and New Yorkers are part of that system, I think they would be more cooperative than
Thank
you
you.
think.
Thank you very much.
There's
You know what,
proposals.
Hassan?
Mr.
Notice
Sliwa,
that
how
Curtis
would you
Sliwa has a
quiet a little
gray
bit the
tan
city that
line.
never sleeps?
You know
Yeah,
what?
he
I
does.
In the
I see
outdoors,
it now.
That is extremely white.
Quality of life issues.
Oh, God.
18-wheel tractor trailers, RVs parked everywhere. Garbage that's not picked up and collected. In the city, we've seen trash cans taken away by the sanitation department, Jessica Tisch, when she was the commissioner. The quality of life has diminished noticeably. So naturally, people are going to revert to 311. But it's important that a mayor be able to provide services to all the people. And they believe
you.
if
Thank you,
quality
Mr.
of life
Sliwa.
is diminished, the next
Thank
stop
you.
is
Mr.
sell your
Mamdani.
house and leave the city. And my goal is
Well, thank
to
you very
improve
much.
and not move.
Mr. Mamdani.
I'm embarrassed
What
that
we've
he's one of
seen
mine.
is one of the biggest sources
Put that
of
on a
noise in the
t-shirt.
city is from
Approve,
congestion.
not move.
And with the implementation of congestion pricing,
Shiva.
we've actually seen noise complaints drop in the congestion zone. And so I would continue to find ways to ensure that we have
point out
reduced
how,
congestion
crime's
across the
gone
city.
down
And
in
one
New
of the
York
ways
City.
is by making the slowest buses in America ones that are fast and free, so that New Yorkers can not only live
Fast
a
and
life
furious.
of excellent quality of life, but also be able to get around the city without having to worry if they have $2.90 or soon to be $3
Fast, be
in their
furious.
pocket, which is already out of reach for 1 in 5 New Yorkers.
We have here the author of congestion pricing, and we have the apprentice of congestion pricing.
We might
And
need
the only
we-
candidate who's opposed to congestion pricing.
Thank you.
It
Okay,
has
thank you,
led
Mr.
to
Sliwa.
We might need to-
storefronts
we might need to
closing
place-
because they don't have enough
have-
food.
we have other
We
quality
need
of
to
life
move
issues.
on, otherwise we
Can I
might have
just
to place a
don't-
call to 311
Right.
about candidates going over there a lot of times.
Oh, shit.
We're going to move on to elite
Don't even
parking
joke
lots
about
in
that.
many neighborhoods.
Just earned her bonus.
Recently, Councilmember Lincoln Ressler released a study that found
I so got
450
distracted by the,
vehicles parked illegally during the day in downtown Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Many
they're
with
on
reaction
fire.
to that.
government placards. That's just one snapshot of the city, but you hear similar complaints everywhere. So how would you fix this specific situation? You'll have 30 seconds. Mr. Sliwa will begin with you.
Well, obviously, placards have been abused consistently. You have people
More
who've
cops.
created fake placards. Not only that, you have people with fake license plates, paper plates. There's all violations against the Department of Transportation rules and regulations of where you can park a vehicle. There's just no enforcement. And that's because
Told
we
you.
don't have police. We have these e-bikes going up and down. We have the motorbikes. They're not following rules and regulations. They should be licensed. They should have
I saw a funny tweet that sums up this debate perfectly.
This way, enforcement can take
might want
place. People
to
are
turn down the
terrified
volume so I
walking
can
out
say
into
this. So it says Andrew Cuomo, Zohran Mamdani is a communist. Zohran Mamdani, here's my plan for affordable childcare. Curtis Sliwa. So 46 years ago, I was riding a red scooter around Staten Island when I saw a deer eating a dead bunny. And that's why I decided the city needs me.
Perfect. My only criticism of Zohran Mamdani so far is he probably needs to do more lat pulls. He's looking a little slumped.
Yeah.
I don't know.
with that.
That's,
have you forgotten that he's a Zionist?
I know he just ran a 5K, so I'm one to judge.
He can't
Life
bench
issues.
as much
The
as
worst
a
thing that
woman.
could happen
so.
is if the assemblyman's proposal for legalizing prostitution went through, that would be terrible for the quality of life. He also doesn't want to enforce misdemeanors.
This guy's saying that?
Larceny, etc.
He's anti-legalized prostitution.
That's bullshit.
I never
Come
called for
on,
legalization
man.
of prostitution. I'm not calling for
He's
that.
like, I don't like
today
to pay
either.
for it,
And
okay.
I also have never said anything about not enforcing misdemeanors. This is just yet another figment of Andrew Cuomo's imagination.
The DSA, which you give your part of your salary to, that's their position. Abolish jails. No new carceral facilities. Don't enforce misdemeanors.
No.
And you're
Abolish the
on
private
bill
prison
in
industrial
Albany
complex. What the
as a
fuck?
sponsor
Not being attached to the Democratic
decriminalize
Socialists.
prostitution.
The difference between myself and Andrew Cuomo, of which there are many, is that there is no one.
Say
that is
join
actually
DSA.
telling you what
Say
to do
join
other than
DSA.
the
Say
8.5
join
million
DSA.
people who call this city
Who
home.
told
You
you
want
to-
my policies?
All right.
You'll find them on my website.
Who told you to legalize prostitution?
Okay, wait.
It was me. I told him to do
it.
It was me.
You signed the law.
Sex workers
doing
for
away
Cuomo
with
are
loitering
probably
for
thinking, what?
prostitution. That was the law put
Okay.
forward
Whoa,
by Judge
all right,
Scalia.
what the
Gentlemen,
fuck?
He
Not what-
started the prostitution.
All right, gentlemen,
in
Mr.
East
Sliwa.
Elmhurst,
That's not
and
what
Mr.
the law
Sliwa.
is.
Mr.
and Jackson
Sliwa.
Heights
Dude,
and
old
Flushing.
man.
Yeah, let's all join DSA.
You want to add
Losing
to
it.
it, which
Mr.
diminishes
Sliwa.
the quality of life.
Mr.
a scene
Sliwa,
from
when I talk
Batman.
over you, nobody's hearing you, and we actually have a question on that. So we'll let Rosarina ask.
And for this question, candidates, we want to come to Queens, where we know that prostitution has been an ongoing complaint. Mayor Adams formed a task force and ordered sweeps by the NYPD. But the situation continues, especially around the very popular Roosevelt Avenue. As mayor, Mr. Mamdani, how would you handle this situation? You have 30 seconds.
I want to first be clear that
Maude,
I
let me
am
post
not,
the link to
and nor
DSA.
have I ever called for the legalization of prostitution. And if you are happy with what's happening on Roosevelt Avenue, then you should vote for Andrew Cuomo, because his policy is to continue the exact same ones we've seen under Eric Adams. My policy is to actually take on sex trafficking, to have a zero tolerance for violence against women, and to follow the advice of district attorneys that we have here in New York City, the current Manhattan DA, the former Manhattan DA, the current Brooklyn DA, the former Manhattan DA having said that prosecuting women for prostitution is something that actually leads to less safety. And what we need to do is provide an economy
Mr.
of
Mamdani,
opportunity.
just a quick clarification. So no legalization, how about decriminalization?
I do not think that we should be prosecuting women
Yeah,
who are struggling, who are currently
Yes.
being thrown in jail, and then being offered job opportunities. I think we should be
There
actually
is a
providing
difference.
those kinds of opportunities at the first point of interaction.
Mr. Cuomo, your turn.
Look, Bill de Blasio, the assemblyman is a mini-me BDP.
Bill de
okay? He's
Blasio.
Bill de Blasio.
But Bill de
light.
Blasio was a really good mayor,
he
though. No?
proposed legalizing prostitution. He didn't get it, and he just
It's
told
like
the
Trump with
cops,
Biden.
Don't
But
arrest
Biden-
any more prostitutes.
Yeah.
There is a bill in Albany that he signed that says
TikTok and
the prostitution
right now.
that a woman who is a prostitute, that would be decriminalized. That is what the bill
Dude.
says,
No,
and that's
Oh,
literally what he
man.
said.
Moron.
Listen very
You know who
carefully.
we should have
He
had on
started
tonight?
Roosevelt Avenue
Nowicki and her
exploded
boyfriend, Bill de
because
Blasio.
it would make
I
it
can arrange
legal
that, actually.
for
Oh,
prostitutes.
man.
Real quick, how would you handle this situation?
You
She's
have to
tweeting a
enforce
lot.
the law. It's illegal.
Yeah.
I went to Roosevelt
Yeah.
Avenue. I
That's
talked
true.
to the
Like, hey,
store
do you, your
owners.
boyfriend
I
This
talked
dude
to
to
come
doesn't
on and
understand
I
the
walked
Figure-
down Roosevelt
decriminalization
Avenue
of
with
Thank you. I have to
prostitutes
move
there
on
at
to
9
Mr.
o'clock in the
Sliwa.
morning.
Your turn, Mr. Sliwa.
I've dealt with this
I haven't talked to
back in
Nikki
the
in
80s and 90s in Hell's Kitchen in Chelsea when they were overrun with open-air prostitution and Times Square. You don't go after the women. The women are the victims here.
Good
You
job,
lock
Curtis.
up the
Like Andrew
Johns, you
Cuomo's
shame the
victims,
Johns.
right?
You let everybody know about the Johns. The madams and the pimps need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Leave
and
them alone.
These absentee landlords who knowingly rent their rooms,
Calm down, Ted
their
Cruz.
apartments out for the use of
Let 'em work.
prostitution.
Let 'em live.
The Department of Building should come in, padlock the building, seize the building. Because many of these landlords live in Delray, Florida. They did back in the 80s and 90s when we did it in Chelsea and Times Square
Thank you.
and Hell's Kitchen.
Thank you,
and they're
Mr.
doing it
Sliwa.
again,
Okay.
and
Thank you,
there's
Mr.
no
Sliwa.
enforcement. That's why the
Wannabe
prosecution.
daredevil over here.
Sally now.
Thank
I'm
you,
telling you, I
David.
think
We're going
Curtis
to
could
talk a
take,
bit about
take
experience
Cuomo.
and beliefs. We've covered a lot of
No,
ground tonight,
question.
but we
Cuomo's
want to
fault.
probe a bit deeper.
Let's
into
vote
your
for Curtis
mindset
over
and how you
Cuomo, dude.
approach
Knock
governing
over.
as
He's
mayor.
a
Mr.
guardian
Cuomo,
angel.
you have touted
Fuck
your
yeah,
experience
dude.
on the campaign trail time and again, but you pretty
been on
squarely
Oprah.
lost the Democratic
Yeah, he's been
primary
on
to Mr. Mamdani, forcing you, a lifelong Democrat, to run as an independent. When you announced that decision, you said, quote, "When you get knocked down, learn the lesson and pick yourself back up." What lesson did you learn, and what do you feel it said about you, something you did wrong?
Yeah, what happened?
something
What lesson
that
did you
need
learn
to
when you
change
had
about
multiple
yourself?
sexual assault
I
allegations?
think in the primary campaign, I did not do enough on social media, which is a very effective means.
That's
It,
what
it
I
ain't
didn't
helping you
post
now
good
with that
enough.
AI
think
bullshit you're
that I
doing.
did do a better job on TikTok
said I didn't
and
use
social
Facebook
media
enough.
than I did during the
Oh,
campaign.
wait, he's gonna mention us on Piker
And that
again.
has changed now.
No,
I've
it hasn't.
also increased my activity significantly, but
Yeah, washing
my
windows.
my agenda is exactly the same. I am the Democrat, although I'm not on the Democratic line.
No,
He
you're
is
not.
a Democratic
not.
socialist called
Still a
Barack
Democrat,
Obama,
though.
evil and a liar. Didn't vote
He's
for
the better
Kamala Harris.
Democrat.
Fight and deliver is I will fight
In
for
New
people.
York
I will fight the
State, though.
bureaucracy, and I will deliver
Who cares
results.
who we voted for?
New Yorkers need the
not
mayor
gonna
to get
work.
something done.
And-
This is all words and theories.
And-
I am a manager.
Oh,
who
no,
can
not
This
words and
question
get it
about
theories.
done.
self-reflection is the thing you're reflecting on the most, that you need to be on social media more. Was there any other deeper lesson that you
Between the two campaigns, social media, more accessibility.
Okay.
I just have to say, it's been an hour and
Melissa.
20 minutes of this debate, and we haven't heard Governor Cuomo say the word affordability. That's why he lost the primary. That's why he'll lose the general election. And you can lie all you want, but the truth is, I voted for Kamala Harris. I'm the only candidate on this stage to have the endorsement of Kamala Harris, and I'm not the one who's funded by Bill Ackman, who called Kamala Harris unqualified to be the vice president of this country.
Damn.
Funded by
Yeah, breathe
Look,
responsibly.
there
Big
are a lot of
softy.
New Yorkers who support me. And there are a lot of New
Not
Yorkers
enough,
who
apparently,
support
but a
me
lot.
Because they
I
think
will
I'm
say that-
smart.
If they did support you, you would have been the
So
Democratic
it's not about
nominee and
Exactly.
she went to be
Republican.
mayor.
It's about you.
I will say that him
do you
embracing
think he's
the
anti-Semitic?
Kamala endorsement is not going
I
to help
don't make
with,
those
people
judgments
that are
about
calling him a
people. Are you
Zionist
a
already.
racist? Are you an
Yeah.
anti-Semite?
Doesn't matter.
I
Oh my
know
God,
there are
they
many
fell for that
bad
free
people.
press
Believe me,
fucking
bullshit, which
morons.
is hilarious.
I believe not condemning the globalized Intifada, what he
what?
has said about Hamas.
But Mr.
I can
Cuomo,
see where they
I covered
are
your.
inflamed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I covered your speech in an Upper West Side
Yes, you do.
synagogue where you said anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. There is no
No.
difference, and you were talking about Mr. Mamdani. Is that not an allegation? that
No,
was-
I make that statement all the time. I was
So
referring
not
to
No,
Hamas.
I say that all the time.
Okay.
Mr.
Okay, so
Mamdani,
are
a brief response, then we have to
anti-Zionist
move on.
Jews not
I
real
have
Jews?
denounced
Are they
Hamas
self-hating
again and
Jews?
again.
Like,
It will
what's
never
the
be
deal
enough
here?
for Andrew Cuomo, because what he is willing to say, even
Like,
though
this
not
is
on
why
the
I can't
stage, is to
comprehend.
call me, the first Muslim on the precipice of leading this city, a terrorist sympathizer, is to send mailers
Yikes.
that artificially lengthen my beard,
Okay.
is to say to New Yorkers that
Darken
they
your
should
I
feel
know,
skin.
good.
Mr.
When what I will do
Melissa
is
has
deliver
a
for
specific,
all.
I never
Melissa has a
sent
specific question
Mr.
for
Mamdani,
you.
you are the Democratic nominee, and you're also a member, as we've been discussing, of a political organization that may be less familiar to New Yorkers, the Democratic
AOC.
Socialists of
Like, I don't-
America,
Yeah,
which
so is
believes
Bernie.
in dismantling
Well, it's-
capitalism. New York City is the global headquarters of the finance industry. So how would you be the mayor of Wall Street and the DSA? You have 1 minute.
I would be the mayor of this entire city. And that means ensuring that the wealth that we generate in this city is also wealth that every single New Yorker can actually feel in their pockets. Because what we have today is a system that has generated the most wealth in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, where 1 in 4 of our neighbors are living in poverty. That's unacceptable. We can't look at 500,000 kids hungry every single night as just the cost of doing business in this city. That's something we have to actually change. And I'm going to do that by fighting for my neighbors in Queens that I've come to know, who are not only the ones who own teapots and toy stores, who own diners and dry cleaners, but also the ones who work there. Because right now, all of them are being pushed out of this city by corporate greed, by private equity, and by a politics that refuses to fight for them. I will finally
just a
deliver
quick
that
follow-up, Mr. Mamdani. A lot of Hispanic that flee socialism and are a little bit scared to hear your policies. What would you tell them?
Oh my
Well,
God!
I would first say that I wouldn't be here
hate
without the
this.
support of Latino
Y'all
New
fled
Yorkers, because it was the
Batista,
majority
not
of their
Castro.
support that helped to make me the
I wish I
Democratic
could
nominee.
flee
And
capitalism.
what democratic socialism
I know.
is a belief in the dignity of each and every New Yorker and the responsibility city government has
Like, I'm
to
sorry, you
deliver
own a
that
sugar
dignity.
farm.
That's
What
why
am I
I'm
to
speaking
do?
about childcare, because it's pricing out New Yorkers from the city. That's why I'm speaking about freezing the rent, because housing isn't a human right in the way
Like,
that we
also,
practice
those
our
people are just
politics.
conservatives anyway.
And
They're
that's
not
why
going to
I'm
vote
talking
for
about
it
making
regardless.
buses fast and free, because 1 in 5 New Yorkers are being priced out of public transit today.
Rosarina. So, Mr. Sliwa, I would like to talk to you because you were here with us 4 years ago in the same stage for the general election debate, and you lost it. Why do you believe New York is ready to elect a Republican this time around?
First off, did I not warn you 4 years ago that Eric Adams would be corrupt and we would have chaos? Did I not? Of course. And
He
I
wasn't
get praised
wrong.
for that. Now I'm trying to get people to vote for me, not just on the Republican.
Oh, come on.
Gosh, Sliwa, fucking gets the ad.
I do think that so far, and just keep muted for 1 sec. So far, I think that the New York City voters have heard Mamdani talking directly to them or answering stupid, irrelevant questions. I think it's all getting through to anyone watching this. They're like, he's talking to me. The other guys, I don't know who they're talking to, not me.
And
why
that
do they keep
socialism
distracting
question,
him
perfect
with dumb
response.
questions?
Like,
Yeah.
you're afraid, you've heard the word socialism, and it reminds you of where you came from and whatnot. This is what I mean by it: free buses, more affordable housing, blah blah blah. Like, fucking perfect.
No to the city of yes, which will take your homes and provide
Thank
you
you, Mr.
instead
City
with
of Yes.
lithium-ion
They
battery
did City of Yes in
warehouses
New
next to
Orleans,
your
too.
house, which are like miniature.
Thank
I'm
you.
the only candidate who is
Thank you.
opposed to the city of yes.
Thank you.
What?
I just do a quick, I have a quick follow to that, Mr. Sliwa. How do you bring down costs if you don't build more housing?
Oh, it's very simple to build housing. You just look in New York City. We have so many dense areas where you no longer can use the commercial space. They used to be office space, and you just convert it into residential housing. You don't need to go into the outer building. You don't need to use wetlands and parklands, which they seek to do. If you build a new building, it takes 5 years. If you convert an
All right, Mr. Sliwa, thank you. We want to
building,
change the
it
pace
can
here a
be
little
done
bit.
in a year.
Want to change the pace and just get a sense of what you think about political leadership. We're curious about who you admire. Who is the best modern-day U.S. president? Mr. Cuomo?
Oh, fuck.
Say
Trump, dude.
Modern day.
He's gonna say Clinton.
I'm partial. I was Bill Clinton's
Kennedy.
Housing and Urban Development
Well, that's
Secretary.
not helpful.
We built affordable housing all across the United States.
Bill Clinton?
Empowerment zones.
Epstein
say
Dude, just say it,
Mr.
bro.
Mamdani?
Bill Clinton.
I would say
They both love grabbing.
FDR.
Mr. Sliwa?
FDR.
Yeah.
Modern.
Well,
Man,
I'd say
Good choice.
FDR also, if that's modern day.
Mr. Sliwa?
A man that ended up being loved by Democrats and Republicans alike, the greatest governor we've ever had in my lifetime, George Pataki. 3 terms, no chaos, no corruption.
That's not
He
president.
actually beat
President.
the
Wait,
was he president?
Mr. Sliwa?
I forgot about President
Governor and
Pataki.
this
Modern-day
President
U.S. president.
Curtis.
Oh, who's
Who you thought was the best modern
best president in our lifetime?
Donald Trump.
I would say the best president in our lifetime that I've experienced. I would go back to Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. Okay.
Oh, damn.
How about the best New York City mayor, Mr. Sliwa?
Well,
Best
he
New
already
York City
said.
mayor, Mr. Sliwa.
Rudy Giuliani, who endorsed me last week. And I'd have a little bit of Michael Bloomberg thrown in because
Here
he
we
likes
go.
to
Mr.
delegate
Mamdani?
responsibility.
America's
I think the
mayor.
best New York City mayor of all time is Fiorello LaGuardia.
Mr. Cuomo?
Oh.
It was
yeah.
Bill de Blasio last debate.
No, I've always said Fiorello is the best mayor of all time.
Who's yours, Mr. Cuomo?
He's slipping.
Is it of all time or modern time?
Oh,
Best New York
my
City
God.
mayor.
Of all time, it is
George
Fiorello
Washington.
LaGuardia.
Oh, Jesus
agree?
Christ.
Bide my time. Let me see.
Recently, I would say
scroll,
Mayor
scroll.
Dinkins and Mayor Bloomberg.
Okay. How about
partial to
political
Bugs
leader,
Bunny.
dead or alive?
That man
who most
couldn't
admire?
stop changing his
Mr.
party
Mamdani?
affiliation when he was running for president in
I would say I
2020.
admire Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And the father.
Mr.
Father?
Father.
I said it already.
Okay,
George
Meghan McCain.
Pataki was
Fucking
loved
Meghan
by
McCain.
Democrats and Republicans,
My
and
father,
the greatest
my
mayor
father, my father.
in our lifetime.
All right.
The greatest
Sal,
governor in
I
our
just
lifetime.
have one more before Sally
He
starts
has
asking
no
about
idea what he's
schools. A
talking
show of
about.
hands. Who supports Kathy Hochul for re-election?
It's a decision that should be made after this general election.
So no decision. Mr. Cuomo, you handpicked her as your lieutenant governor. No thought?
You have to know who's running.
Yeah. Okay, so
And I would add that I do think that Kathy Hochul, our governor, has been doing a good job in not only
Do you
serving
support her
and
for re-election?
delivering, not only delivering for New Yorkers, but also standing up to Donald Trump.
just what do you support her for
Then
re-election?
endorse her.
I'm focusing on November.
Why don't you
And I
endorse her?
appreciate her support
All right,
and I
thanks,
appreciate her
candidates.
work.
But you
Thanks,
don't endorse
candidates.
her.
How about a shout out for
All right,
Lee
we're gonna
Stefanik
turn
to
to-
take
No longer
out
hot
Kathy
girl
Hochul?
suburbs.
You have a
All that
Republican
boy.
mayor,
Oh,
Curtis,
Lee
a Republican
Stefanik.
governor,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Stefanik,
Thank you.
like Giuliani.
We want to
and
talk about
Pataki, who
schools.
saved this city.
We want to
and
talk about
state.
schools. Sally?
Okay, thank you, David. Let's turn to education. There are a number of issues facing public schools. One that's been controversial in the campaign is the Gifted and Talented program, which offers
rid of
accelerated
them.
instruction to elementary school children. Mr. Mamdani, you have said that you want to phase out the Gifted and Talented program, while Mr. Cuomo and Mr.
Literally
Sliwa
every
want
gifted
to
talented kid I
expand
knew
it.
ended up being like
Mr.
an
Sliwa, we
addict
will
and
start with
homeless
you. What
and
is your
like
plan
not
for the
good.
program? You have 1 minute.
Like,
Gifted and talented.
Yes, Gifted
Is
and
that
Talented.
what's cracked up
I
to be?
have two younger
Those
sons
programs.
with Melinda Katz, the Queens DA. They both attempted to get into Gifted and Talented as 4-year-olds. They failed. It did not present a problem with their future education. We don't have enough slots. Right now, they're 1,900.
I
We
covered
need to
this
have at least
topic in
5,000
the
slots around the
pre-debate
city.
segment.
What they have not done at the Department of Education is make these tests available in Black and Hispanic communities.
True.
So, for instance, you
It's a way
have
of maintaining
77,000 children who are
That's why it
4 years
exists.
old. Only 10,000 have taken the test. Only 2,000 are accepted. Why not offer the test to all 77,000? And even if a gifted and talented class only has 3 or 4 in a minority school, give these children an opportunity to excel too. That
former
would make
school
it
teacher.
fair for everyone.
I am pro getting rid of
Thank you.
that
Mr. Cuomo, how does your plan differ from Mr. Sliwa's? You also have 1 minute.
First, I support mayoral control. I think it would be a terrible mistake to roll back mayoral control. That's probably been the most dramatic educational reform in 40 years. We'd go back to the old system that had
Especially,
local
Jules,
school
in the
boards,
context of
which
charter
were
schools.
corrupt, patronage mills, et cetera. So who runs the system is number one. I would expand gifted and talented programs. Accessibility. I'd offer preparatory courses to any student, parent that wanted to take them. I double the number of specialized high schools from 9 to 18. And I would keep the SAT as it is.
No one wants to
you.
take
And
those.
Mr.
Can I add one thing?
Very
There's
brief.
been no discussion about vocational high schools,
Okay, we're
which save so
gonna
many
keep-
young men and women.
Sorry, this is the
We need to expand vocational training for those who
Okay,
are not
we're going
going
to
to
keep
achieve
going here with
academic
Mr.
excellence.
Mamdani. Why should the Gifted and Talented program be phased out, in your opinion? You have a minute to answer.
So I want to be very clear. I have spoken solely of gifted and talented for kindergartners. I do not believe that kindergartners should be subject to a singular assessment. I have not spoken of any gifted and talented programs
4-year-olds.
older than for kindergarten. I'm solely speaking about kindergarten. And I believe that we should be delivering the best education across the country here in this city. We will do that by following through on the proposals I've put forward to hire 1,000 more teachers every single year through our community to classroom program. One that will ensure that we're providing each student, whether they be in high school or someone who is an adult looking to become a teacher, with $12,000 in tuition subsidies so that they can start to fulfill the 7,000 to 9,000 additional teachers we need so that we can actually deliver on the Class Size Reduction Act, which I was proud to pass in Albany, that will ensure that children and teachers actually have a manageable ratio in that classroom so that they can learn. Because today, that learning is being rendered impossible by the number of kids in that same classroom. It's time to make sure that that number is lower.
Thanks.
But you don't
gentlemen,
believe
more
the mayor
teachers,
should
less
run
cops.
the system.
I've been critical of mayoral
I thought
control
Curtis Lee
because
was
of the
gonna
ways
say
in
put
which
more
it's been
cops in.
used to take away the voice of parents, of educators, of students. And I think it's important that those same voices be a part of how we lead the system.
So are you for or against mayoral control?
I've been critical of it. I'm against mayoral control, and I think that there's an importance of developing something that actually enshrines all of those voices together.
Mr. Cuomo, you also tried to
Good
curtail
answer.
it when Mayor de Blasio was mayor. But
I'm
we
sorry.
can go. Did you hear what she said?
No.
I was saying you proposed a curtailment of mayoral control when Mayor de Blasio was mayor during
There's been multiple modifications of mayoral control.
But some proposed curtailment at your hand. So if you're such a champion of it tonight,
No,
I think it's worth pointing
I never
out.
proposed reversing mayoral control.
No, shortening the duration of time he would have control of schools.
Yes, for renewal. The renewal
Right.
period.
How much
Counter
control
to
of
what you're
schools,
saying.
Mr. Mamdani, how much control of schools would you be giving up? Is it just a sharing arrangement? I know you want to share with the districts and with parents, or would you be giving up full control? And is that an accountability problem if the buck doesn't stop with you?
I think the mayor needs to retain the accountability so that New Yorkers know exactly who they can come to when they have critiques. And I think we also have to develop a system where we don't have what we saw just recently, where you have hours and hours of parents and teachers and students testifying only to be overruled without any consideration by the panel on
Thank you,
education.
Mr. Mamdani. I have to move on.
control.
Switching now. It's a question for all three of you. Switching to students with learning challenges. Parents of students
They should
with
have led with
dyslexia,
this.
ADHD, and autism are very well aware.
Why is this
the
at
fact
the
that
end?
the school system
Yeah.
in New York City is not doing
Get
enough
all the
to meet
drama
their
farming
children's
at the end,
educational
like-
needs.
And I
How will
think
you
only
help
the
these
first
parents
hour
and
was
students?
televised.
We know that
Hold on,
Mayor
this might
Adams
be a
has
question about
expanded
Tylenol, though.
evaluations specifically for
Yeah.
children with dyslexia. It was an issue close to his heart. But what would you do more broadly, Mr.
We're going to be
Mamdani?
talking
No,
circumcision
I think some
here
of
in
the
a second.
initiatives that Mayor Adams has launched, especially with this chancellor, have been showing positive signs, especially for literacy and for preparedness, especially
That
as
was the
we're
praise for
in
Eric
a
Adams?
national crisis on reading and mathematical comprehension. And I think those are programs that should be furthered, should be invested in, all while also ensuring that we're giving teachers greater flexibility in the curriculum that they're actually teaching. Because what I've heard from many of those teachers is that too often the curriculum that's being procured in the $10 billion a year in DOE contracts is one that has little relation
Thank
to the
you,
classroom.
Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Sliwa, you have 30 seconds.
Yes.
Robert from
we have
GMC and the
$41,000
Lumencast just
that we're
called
spending
me,
on each
melting
student
the
now. By
fuck
fourth
down
grade,
because he's like watching
2/3
behind.
of these
He said he's
children
smashing his
cannot read,
computer.
write, or do
He's
math
never
at
going to
grade
broadcast
level.
live again. He's
That-
going into the woods because
We
he
should
saw
be
the
ashamed of ourselves with that.
sign.
100,000 less students than we had last year. 1/3 are truants.
Get him on here. Where is he?
Schools with
He's
200 students or less. and
I don't know.
He's
if-
become-
he
he's
said
become,
not going to join tonight, but I want him to join. But I think he's not going to be able to make it.
He's becoming the like nomad land or whatever. Like he's just nomadic lifestyle now.
No, yeah, just like
You had
we're
13
going to the
deputies.
commune, the primitive commune, because we cannot. Humans are not made for fucking
Still
like
reaching
with
into their
learning
pockets
differences.
to pay for
We're gonna move on
badly
to
needed
Mr.
supplies
Cuomo.
for the children in the class. The money should be going to the
Mr. Sliwa,
teachers
thank you.
and the
Okay.
children and young adults.
Let's get
and
some
it's
more
not.
cops in
Mr.
there.
Cuomo, what is your specific plan to deal with the challenges of students with learning differences?
We are losing young families. When the child becomes of school age, they leave the city, they go to the suburbs, they go to New Jersey. They're not going to sacrifice their child on what they
What's
think
wrong
is
with
a
New
better
Jersey?
education system.
Don't sacrifice your child.
The core competency, reading and math,
Poor choice of
below
words.
50% is a disgrace. The gifted and talented programs
What's
gives
right
people
with New
hope.
Jersey?
I do believe Mayor Adams has made progress on
It's
the
pork
evaluations
roll,
and
not Taylor
services
Ham, people.
for children who require
Only Basora
special needs and
would be able to
assistance.
show up tonight.
But obviously, we have to do more.
So we have another question about improving schools. And in the last year, the schools enrolled more than 36,000 migrant students, many learning English for the first time. From class size to bilingual teachers, that puts a big strain in the system. Mr. Cuomo, what can you do to help migrant students, but also the staff? You have 30 seconds.
Well, first, I think
Report
it was
them to ICE.
wrong of the state
Wrong.
to put
wrong,
so many
wrong,
migrants
wrong.
in New York City. New York City had the overwhelming majority of migrants,
But they're already here.
close to about 80%. The
Hold on.
state should have put them all across the state, Nassau, Suffolk, upstate, so other governments
dare
could
they
have,
put the migrants into the biggest
also-
Well, they were bused here from Texas. And we have a
Yes.
situation.
But if they
immigrants
brought
in
them
New
Texas,
York?
you could have
What
brought
the
them
hell?
to Nassau.
How?
Yeah,
That's
but
how.
right now,
Westchester.
and we're asking
Yes.
about the current problem.
Yes, well, that's how the problem was created.
Okay, we understand
The
that.
state put them here, the state gave the city the bill. It has now increased the challenge in our education system. The state is going to have to help financially.
So you didn't answer the question, Mr. Mamdani, is your chance.
You know, when I spoke about our community to classroom program, the importance of it is not just bringing in 1,000 more teachers every year. It's also that we would bring in a number of more bilingual educators. Because what we've heard from a number of adults who have taught in other countries, now live in New York City, is the process by which they get their certification approved to teach here is one that is onerous and one that is actually pricing many of them out. That's why this is a program that will directly address that, to increase that bilingual capacity in our school system so that we can teach every single child, no matter when they got here,
But
the public education
Mr.
they
Mamdani,
deserve.
this certification has been offered and it hasn't been successful. So how can you make more teachers to be, like they want to do this?
Part of what I've heard is that the tuition costs as part of the same certification exams are onerous for many of these adults looking to switch careers. That's why this program is built upon providing $12,000 in tuition assistance that would lead to 1,000 more teachers every year.
And also salaries will be a good.
We have not just migrant children, we have the children of the homeless, over 120,000. We haven't yet discussed charter schools, parochial schools that are closing. Normally, parochial schools would have been able to take some of these children. We need to expand the number of charter schools that are doing an amazing job, especially in the inner cities. And why not make that available to migrant children and to the homeless children who are coming from shelters all across the city who need the special teaching skills that have lifted children in the charter schools? We need to give choice because that's our most precious resource, our children.
So allow me to now move on into the
I
sanctuary.
agree on the charter schools.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. So allow me now to enter into the sanctuary city situation.
Who's the Republican?
Let's talk about also undocumented immigrants. 26 Federal Plaza has become a flagship in federal immigration crackdown. We reported that asylum seekers are showing up for like those routine appointments, not facing any criminal challenges, and they end up being deported. So by the show of hands, we would like to know if you believe that any of you could do something to stop this. Okay. So Mr. Cuomo, you have a minute to explain us what would you do?
The law is the law, and I would have an attorney assigned to every person who is undergoing any review by the federal government or any legal proceeding, and put the full weight of the city government behind it, and make sure they are legally protected.
By the way, I was
what's your plan?
to be Netanyahu's legal
Going
defense.
after the criminals, that's the job of Immigration and Naturalization Service, ICE. But when they have to perform under a quota, because I speak to many of the men and women who serve this country, it's putting too much pressure to go out.
The brave men and women of ICE.
To go Home Depot shape-ups or in the backs of restaurants and hospitality businesses, which have
they go
hired
nuts
these
with the
migrants,
quota.
and they
So
are
get rid of
essential
the
workers
quota.
now. I can tell you, I have 3 sons. None of them are going to do that work. Some Americans will, but most won't. We need to protect the migrants who are workers, who are essential workers, and use ICE to go after the drug dealers, the gangbangers, the sexual,
just like Trump said.
and those who are sex trafficked and involved in narco terrorism.
These people are
I'd be
obsessed
proud
with
to feed the
using
first immigrant mayor of the city in generation.
immigration forces to essentially combat crime. Like, you know who? I mean, like I'm not like the kind of person that's like, oh, get the FBI or whatever on it, but like, the target is crime, at least when it comes to them. At least it's the state of
that's what Zorn's
when you
talking
have
about
immigration and ICE and shit like that. That is literally saying that crime is immigrants and they're linked, and that is so not true.
Flatbush Pastor Galbraith, who told me how he accompanied a member of his congregation to 26 Federal Plaza.
Exactly.
He sat there as a judge was determining her fate. They managed to convince the judge to replace the deportation order with a TPS order, but they knew that ICE would not care about that change, and they had to sprint her out of the building, smuggling her into the elevator in order to get her back to Brooklyn.
Thank you.
That pastor picked her up and ran her out of the building.
Economy,
Fireman
a
creator.
little bit. Everyone supports growing New York City's economy. The mayor is our chief salesman to the business world. So we want to mix it up, test your persuasive power. So
is that what the mayor is?
Pitch. And we'll start with you,
chief
Mr. Lombardi.
salesman to
In
the
this scenario,
business world?
You're talking to the CEO of a big
And
tech
Israel.
Oh, that's not a good way
deciding
to
to move its headquarters to New York City or to Dallas. The CEO is concerned New York just raised its corporate taxes and employees will pay more for everything. Look into the camera and make your pitch to that CEO to come here and not there. Do it in 30 seconds.
New York City has something that Dallas or no other city across this country could actually offer. And that is the quality of life. That is the arts and the culture. That is the people that make the city so special. And I, as the mayor of this city, will deliver that quality of life, will deliver the safety that is the cornerstone of an affordability agenda.
He's
and
taking
will
this bullshit
ensure
question
that
and making
companies
it into
choose
his
to come
message.
to this
And he's
city
talking
and also
to
choose to stay in
fucking
this
New
city.
Yorkers
Because
and
so
not
much
these
of what
fucking
drives
business people.
the tech sector is a hunger for innovation, a unrepenting desire to actually innovate, and those are the very things that are going to characterize my city government in this.
But what do you say to the CEO about the corporate taxes and also the staggering costs for the workers?
We are going to make this city more affordable so that workers who want to work at those companies can actually be able to do so. And we're going to ensure that this city continues to be one where we see businesses opening and also staying open.
All right, thank you. Sally?
Mr. Cuomo, something of a reverse scenario for you. The CEO of a similar company with 1,000 good jobs tells you she's very close to moving her headquarters out of New York City. She cites everything from taxes to the crushing cost of living for her employees in New York City. How do you convince that CEO to stay? Please look into the camera and make your elevator pitch. You have 30 seconds.
Let him go.
Cuomo's about to.
I will
Yep.
your dick
That was
in
for
New York
Cuomo's
City.
like, I'm on my knees.
What won't I do?
Which hole do you want?
The question is to me in this camera.
Yes,
Tell
the
us she
question
looks
is how
good
do
in
you
time.
convince the CEO of a company
Dude,
with
did Joe
1,000
Biden
good
just take over
jobs
Cuomo?
who's looking to move out of New York
Situational
City
awareness.
with the high cost of living for her employees and taxes, how you would convince her to stay in New York City?
In 15 seconds?
30. 30 seconds.
Joe Biden just took over this man's
I get
body.
it. I
30
understand your
seconds, 10
frustration.
seconds
I
ago.
understand that the far left has been raising taxes and making businesses
21
feel like
seconds.
the enemy. We get it. That's gone.
18,
The DSA,
17,
the socialist
16.
orientation. We're
we
not
go.
socialists. It didn't work in Venezuela. Didn't work
Eric
in
Adams
Cuba.
is
he
actually
threw in
what
socialist.
it is.
Democrat
We have to work
socialism
with
is basically
business.
social
We wanna be your
democracy, which is
partner.
It's
Denmark
literally
and
our
Norway and
government.
Sweden.
No, but like
that
he's
help us
implying that
grow our
motherfucking
city,
Eric
but
Adams
are
and
competitive for you.
fucking like Rudy Giuliani and all these other like mayors of New York are all DSA members. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's gone.
literally
It's
the
over.
government.
As if it was ever here.
Radical left.
Mr.
Oh, here we go.
Mamdani
Sliwa.
earlier
More cops.
has decided to move to New York.
Like
and
those
it's
countries
a
have
1,000
capital
good-paying jobs,
with
and
the
the
social safety.
CEO wants to be
That's it.
based in Astoria, Queens. But there's a loud pushback of residents who don't want the noise and the traffic. How can you convince the residents to accept the new neighbor? You're speaking to a very powerful community. How can you convince them?
But we saw that with Amazon. Amazon wanted to come in, and AOC led the charge and local elected officials to say no to Amazon. That was a big mistake. I would say this.
No,
it wasn't.
Are being recruited away by the day. We have young people who are going to school here who could fill their
You could have
needs
New Yorkers
in
pissing
these
in
high-tech
bottles.
industries
Yeah,
who
not
also
taking
are being
breaks,
lured away.
getting
We
underpaid.
need to cut their income taxes for 5 years. Tell them if you go to school here, graduate here, no income taxes for 5 years. It's an income tax holiday. And the most important thing, we have to be able to assure
Thank you.
the
Thank you,
executive
Ms.
that
Thank
this
you,
will
Mr.
be a
Stewart.
city where we don't lock up toothpaste any longer, but lock up the criminals who make it intolerable to have a good quality.
You won me over.
There it is.
I hate having to ask the
Yeah,
guy
that
for
is
the keys for the razors.
That stopped
I hate
Amazon.
that.
Of course, it's 25,000 jobs. So
Thank
it's
you,
real
Mr.
life.
Cuomo. We need to
When
move
I'm
on to a
shaving all the
crisis
time.
Who the
that
hell
is
is
very important to a
Toothpaste?
lot of voters, and that is people struggling with mental
Two-Face,
health
the
problems. Roughly
district attorney or
500 times a
whatever?
day,
What?
someone calls 911 about an emotionally
gonna lock up
disturbed
Scarecrow.
person. And in a limited number of those cases, when
You
the
know
person
what?
is
Now we
not
need the
believed
Joker
to be
back our
more
violent,
than ever to run
social
as
workers are
mayor of New York City
dispatched
like he did
instead
the
of
Harley Quinn
police.
show because he
Mr.
ran as a
Mamdani,
socialist.
you want to do
Oh.
that on
Nah.
a much larger
The
scale.
Penguin in
So we
the
wanna
in the
know,
old Batman
how
show
will this
did
work?
it, and also he
When
did it
will
in
you
Batman
send
Returns.
police
Kinda looks like Rudy
versus social
Giuliani, too.
workers? You have 1 minute.
True.
You know, we have a program here in New York City called Be Heard that is attempting to do this kind of work. But we've had a mayor who has ensured that it's been unsuccessful, to the extent that even when there was an assessment of about 60% of calls that could have been addressed by Be Heard instead of the NYPD, Be Heard was not actually responsive to it. And that's because we haven't had the political will to deliver on what is a crisis that
When there's a will,
affects
there's a
so
way.
many New Yorkers, which is the mental health crisis. What my plan will do, an innovative plan of the Department of Community Safety, will take what has worked elsewhere in the country, a program in Eugene, Oregon, where they took 24,000 911 mental health calls out of the police department. They were able to respond to all but 311 without police assistance. When there is a concern for safety or of violence, absolutely, you would have the police there. But what we are doing today is actually ensuring that every single call is going to the police and not allowing them to do the work that they signed up to do.
How will you determine whether there is a concern for safety or violence? What is the line between the calls in which police will be dispatched and the calls to which social workers will be dispatched?
The line is also going to be one focused on violence and the threat of violence. And I also trust the operators who will be receiving those calls to make that determination as they do every day today for so many emergency services.
And just two really quick points, please. There has been a lot of discussion that you would send social workers to domestic violence calls, which police are concerned about. So you're saying no, okay. And then the other question is, how can you be sure that a situation that does not sound violent when someone calls 911 does not become violent in the moment? Would police be—
You don't make those situations violent? Cops do.
Yep, cops actually increase escalation.
Escalate.
Yep, 'cause they're not taught de-escalation.
When you're willing to ensure that you're trusting the mental health experts who have been doing this work elsewhere in the country, where they call for the police
And if there's
when they
domestic
need the
violence,
police,
it's probably
but their
a cop's
initial
house.
impulse when there's no violence in that call is to actually address the mental health at the heart of it.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa, you have encountered plenty of these types of situations in your decades of work with the Guardian Angels. So do
He's like,
you see
"Stop
this
him
approach
all the time."
working? You're not a police officer, but you've helped out in situations.
Go run. Boy, another fantasy that's not reality. Eugene, Oregon. Have you ever been to Eugene? I've been to Eugene. Come on, this is New York City. We
God,
have
that
so
post I
many
shared really
emotionally
sums up
disturbed
this debate,
persons
especially
that
him.
are in need of help. I will tell you this, Andrew, you closed the mental health beds that were taking care of them. 40,000 when you came in the office, down to 4,000 because of your cuts. In the streets.
We're not
in the
supposed to
parks,
look at
in the
each other.
subways.
New
People
theory.
need to be removed.
Sliwa is
They
the
need
shooter.
mental
He
health
is
care.
shooting
They
through
need to
Nora
make
right
our
now.
shelters
Keep
safe.
going.
I've been in 1/3 of the 300 shelters run by the Department of Homeless Services. It's Darwinian there, survival of the fittest. If we can make our shelter system safe, we can get men and women who are homeless in there, especially veterans who we're not giving any attention to, who we put out in Ward's Island at 10 o'clock at night, release during the day, don't give any training, have them roam about, and obviously when you have nothing to do, you end up getting into trouble. This is a disastrous, homeless and emotionally disturbed plan that we have in New York City. And I'm the mayor that can change it because I deal with them every day in the streets, in the parks, and the subways.
Okay, Mr. Cuomo, do you think that the NYPD handles these calls for emotionally disturbed people in distress well? Is there room for something in the middle?
Yeah, I think the Assemblyman deals in theory. There's an advantage when you actually have experience. I've run homeless programs. I ran the homeless programs for the federal government. I worked with cities all across the nation. When you get a call on a telephone about a mentally ill person,
thousands of nursing home patients to die during COVID-19.
it is a very dangerous
I'm experienced.
situation. And I think you should have a mental health worker accompanied with a police officer, because these can be explosive situations. I have been in situations that seemed apparently calm and fine, and then
He's like, I was,
erupted
and then I
into
got
violence
assaulted
very quickly, and it got very dangerous very quickly. So I would have a social worker
I've
with
attacked lots
a
of women.
police officer, and get the people off the streets. That's the humane thing, and get them the care they need. Not
what program are you
institutionalize
gonna do?
40,000 people again. We have supportive housing now, which is what we use, and forensic beds for people who need them.
Now, let me get this straight.
Beds,
A police
beds.
officer
What
is
happened
there
in
first. He has
2020
to
with
wait for
beds?
the arrival of a mental health
No,
care
I would send
worker.
them as a team.
As a team. But that's not realistic. You're dealing with fantasy also.
all right.
The police officers are going to be the first one on the scene, and they're always going to have to deal with it first and foremost.
Mr. Cuomo says that he has
Donnie's like,
experience
I'm
running homeless
optimistic, I'm being
programs. What he has
sweet and
experience
nice,
doing
and
is cutting
Sliwa's like,
funding
I
for the
don't
very
give a
programs
fuck.
that prevented homelessness
It's good.
here in New York City. As
Good
the
cop,
governor,
bad cop going
he
on right
cut
now.
funding for the Advantage program, which was putting New Yorkers who had otherwise been in shelters, otherwise been homeless, into
Okay, Mr.
apartments.
Mamdani,
I met
thank you.
one
Mr.
of those
Cuomo,
New
okay,
Yorkers.
Mr. Cuomo,
and she
brief
told me
response,
how that
please.
pushed her out on the
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Brief response, Mr.
He's
Cuomo.
talking about a program 14 years ago. That was a pilot program that had a work requirement. It was very controversial. It was $65 million.
You're talking about Advantage, just so we know
The
what you're
Advantage
talking
program.
about? Okay.
It was 14 years ago, $65 million. I added billions to the homeless budget. funded the homeless budget larger than any governor in history.
Okay.
He
Okay,
cut
thank you.
that
We want to
program.
talk about
He
all right.
cut that
Mr.
program.
Mamdani,
Homelessness
we have aired this-
skyrocketed
Mr.
after
Mamdani,
It
we
did
have
not.
aired
It
this
was 14 years ago.
All right.
It was during the Bloomberg administration. And
Oh,
yes,
boy.
okay.
He was a young
I want to ask
Republican
you
at
about
that time.
climate change. As New York City confronts the impact of climate change, one issue
Here we
already
go.
on the desk of the next
Ooh,
mayor
there
is
you go.
Local Law 97. Passed in 2019, the law requires large buildings to gradually reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. That may require very expensive upgrades to buildings, which some landlords and co-op owners say they just simply can't afford. We're wondering how each of you would enforce the law. You have 30 seconds. Mr. Cuomo.
Local Law 97, I support. Implementing the law is going to be the key because it has to be done in a way that isn't so disruptive to businesses and residences that they just give up and pay the fine and don't even try to comply, which is what is going to happen now. It will be cheaper for them to pay the fine than comply. And that obviously will accomplish nothing. So, yes, I support the law. Yes, we have to implement it, but we have to implement it in a way that is feasible.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Sliwa?
Local 97
Cuomo has
will
no sauce.
destroy those people who have invested in co-ops and condos. There's 100,000. It's forcing them to electrify. Now, you, Andrew Cuomo, took Indian Point offline, 25% of our electrical capacity with no replacement, which has caused skyrocketing electricity bills. And
No,
now we're going
data
to force
centers.
condo and co-op owners to
Data
electrify.
centers.
Maintenance fees will go up 30%. These people will be leaving their condos and co-ops. They need relief. When I'm mayor, I slow that process down. We need our co-op owners
Thank you,
and,
Mr. Sliwa.
and condo owners to
Can I-
stay
Thank
here
you.
in New York City and not flee.
Indian
Briefly.
Point? Yeah. Indian Point was started before me. It was a very dangerous situation. We have nuclear facilities upstate, and my proposal and what I did is run cables from the nuclear facilities upstate to bring the power to downstate. Indian Point had 20 million people in the kill zone.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Mamdani, Local Law
Yes, actually,
97,
I
how would you
point.
enforce the law as mayor?
I support the law, and I would also make it easier for condo and co-op owners to comply with the law, because what I've heard from so many is that it's cheaper to pay the fine than to actually get into compliance. And I think the city has a role here in procurement at a large scale of so much of what is necessary in these infrastructure investments. We've seen it be done in the Clean Energy Challenge within NYCHA. It's time to do it right here in New York City to assist those condo and co-op owners in meeting the standards we desperately need to hit.
Okay, gentlemen, New York City loves its parades, and the mayor is often front and center. You have all said that you want to be mayor for all New Yorkers. So will you march in all the parades that
Ooh,
mayors
parades.
have traditionally marched
I've been
in?
waiting for this one.
Or are there any that
boy.
you would
The big
boycott?
parade.
This is what I'm worried at with fascism on my doorstep is whether or not he'll be in the parade.
Parade
Woo!
Well, I
to
think
celebrate
they're meaning
whatever
things
that
like, will you be in the
parade
Pride Parade?
is performing.
Oh, yeah, what about
I've been
Pride
a Grand
Parade?
Marshal of
Will
the
he be
Pulaski
naked?
Day Parade. I was proud.
How many of y'all wanna see Zoran
Are
celebrate
there any
naked
that you would
heritage.
boycott, though? I just need to move this along. Are
Excuse
there-
me?
Would you boycott any
I'm
of the
about to
city's
bonk you,
parades?
buddy.
No, I would not boycott any parades.
Mr.
It's the mayor's
Cuomo, would you
responsibility
boycott?
to be available to all racial,
No, I
ethnic, and
wouldn't.
religious groups.
No, I wouldn't unless they discriminated.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani.
That's
There are
big.
many parades that I would
Oh,
not be
so-
attending because I'd be focusing on the work of leading this city.
Oh, shit, son.
I've already missed
That's
a
what
number of
I'm
those parades
saying.
because I've been
Well,
trying
can you
to
tell us?
speak
Share
to as
with
many
our
New Yorkers
audience
as
here.
possible.
Okay.
I don't have the list of all the parades I've missed.
Wow, that's a
All right,
lot.
let
The mayor
me
should
ask
be
you
going to
this.
all parades.
Let me ask you this. Are there
Fucking
any
Nazi
that
parades,
don't
whatever,
matter
dude.
that you
Sound
think
bites.
should?
KKK?
I haven't thought much about
Shut
parades, to be
down.
honest with you.
Mr. Cuomo?
Good job,
Somebody's
Zoran.
like-
Not thought.
Solid.
I don't even know what parade doesn't exist, frankly.
Could be for anything. Mr.
Who
Sliwa?
cares about the parade?
Who doesn't like a parade?
Has the right to
Passes
exist in New York City. I would
Where's
ask
the Jello
you,
Dolly?
Thank you.
Mr.
Okay.
Mondani,
Okay. Thank
would
you.
you protect the Christopher Columbus statues that exist here
Oh
in the
my
city?
God,
My
dude.
affordability. I'm not thinking about
Well, you're not
statues.
answering the question.
Oh my God,
You're not
answering
dude.
the question.
He's not going to protect
You're
the
on
statues.
that. You're gonna knock down
Are we going to protect the statues of Confederate soldiers who were
Listen, we're in the last
Democrats and
couple of minutes,
racist
we
back
thought
in like
we'd have some
1880
questions.
whatever?
Right.
We thought we had some
Nathan
questions that
Bedford
maybe
Forrest.
give a glimpse into your life, your personality, away from the political podium. What's your go-to breakfast order at the bodega? Mr. Sliwa?
Someone bring in
Eggs
Jennifer
and cheese on a
Lopez.
roll. No salt, please.
Is it cheese,
Mr.
bacon, and
Cuomo?
egg,
Twix
Cuomo?
bar and
Same thing.
vitamin water.
No
Let's go.
salt also.
Mr. Mamdani.
egg and cheese on a roll with jalapenos.
No.
A blunt.
Have you
It
ever bought anything
Spicy.
in a
Take that
cannabis
salt
shop?
shaker
And if
in my
so,
mouth.
what did you buy, Mr. Mumdani?
I have.
Hell, man.
I've purchased marijuana at a legal cannabis shop.
Okay.
I didn't
Zora.
hold it. There we
Fuck
go.
yeah, dog.
When I was shot 5 times, I've had Crohn's disease. I did use medical marijuana. Yes.
Fucking A.
In a dream scenario, we know it's not possible, but the Mets are playing
You're
Game
right.
7 of the World Series on the same
Oh my
night as the
God,
Knicks are playing Game 7 of the NBA Championship,
cares
and you can
about
only go to
baseball? Okay,
one.
maybe not.
Which one will it be, Mr. Sliwa?
Again, which baseball team?
This is the
Oh,
Mets,
Jesus,
Game
yeah.
7, Knicks Game 7.
Oh, he's a Yankees
I'm not going
fan.
to
What you
this.
said?
I'm a Yankees
Yeah,
fan.
he's a Yankees
True
fan, I can
baseball
tell you
fans, either like one or the
Knicks
other.
are gonna beat
I'm
the
going
Mets
to the
next
Knicks.
time.
Game. That's my
James,
team.
Subway rivalry.
I'm going to go half and half. I can make it back and forth.
All right.
How
Mr.
can you
Mumdani,
make
This is what New Yorkers are sick of. Just pick a team.
What's
Come
your
on.
answer?
I'd be there for the Knicks.
Okay. Well,
There you go.
there's a
Good
lot of
job.
ground
Wow.
covered. We'll leave it on that
Be
light
there
note.
for the
Thank
Knicks
you,
and have the-
candidates,
have
for
the
a
headphones
spirited
on,
debate. We
listening
thank
to
you
that
as
again.
well.
There you go.
We hope you got a lot out of it.
But
New
they
York
didn't
City
ask the
viewers,
two
New York
old
City-
white guys which one's better at golf. That's
No.
like,
Right.
come on, man.
That's
Yeah,
because
who's
we don't
gonna play
care.
golf with the president.
That's only for the
that's
presidential
right.
debate. You're right. I'm sorry.
That was
I'm really kind of
not-
surprised. Like, usually there's a fair number of meaningless questions during these kinds of debates, but there was a lot.
That was
Yeah.
popping off. Yeah, I mean,
lot
that,
of
okay. So
Hassan
first of
comments.
all, I didn't think it was going to be. I thought it was going to be very boring. That was my prediction, and I guess I was wrong. Oh well.
Sliwa brought the energy.
Oh, he brought the sauce, baby.
He made that shit spicy.
Sliwa is no Ross Perot, right? Like, or
Yeah.
no, who was it? His
Perot was cool.
Now, let me show you my
his
chart.
VP. Yeah,
It
right.
reminds me
Yeah.
of that one clip of that guy with the long hair. And he's like, so my mother and I become Jehovah's Witnesses. And we da-da-da-da. It was like a TikTok trend of like forever. And I'm like, this is what it reminds me of. Just going on and on, telling a story. And it's like, get to the point. Get to the point.
Yeah,
Old
yeah,
man
that
shouts
might
at
work.
clouds.
Like
and
on the
like young
street,
vibe.
but-
Like if anyone got anything from this, it was two old men yelling at each other and about the young, vibrant, exciting candidate.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
yeah.
By the way, nice to meet you, Angry Ginger. Jeff, I believe
Yeah.
we met before. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I was gonna go around real quick and just say hi to everyone. It's kind of funny. I'm in the middle here. I'm like Mr. Brady on the Brady.
I was gonna
Bunch.
say.
Or,
Yeah.
I'm Alex. I'm
Let's
fucking
see those
Alex.
management skills.
Or what was the game?
So-
No whammies.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
Exactly.
squares, baby. I'm falling.
So yeah, I mean, this is why we do this, to get as many people on screen together at the same time and to, do the ultimate collaboration. YouTube's always telling me you gotta do more collaborations. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Look at this. So yeah, thanks everybody for
This
being
is
here.
a collaboration. Like, it literally is.
Yeah, I mean, this is as collaborative as it gets for me anyway. I don't think I could take anymore. But anyway, thank you for being here. I do want to show some clips. I do want to talk about, the debate. But like, honestly, we can talk about whatever you guys want. But we've been advertising post debate. But quickly, is there anybody who is dying to plug something or promote something? You got something going on? You want to just introduce yourself? By all means, take this time.
Hello. I'm Christina, aka Cosmopolitics. I stream politics and pop culture over on Twitch at Cosmopolitics. I host Movie Night Extravaganza. We'll have Alex on for Kiki's delivery service.
There you
Then
go.
we'll have the Love
Loving
Witch,
that.
and then we'll do weapons later
Good one. That was a good one.
to close our Witches month. And then we'll do Noir November with a bunch of noir films.
Awesome.
And
Great.
yeah, happy to be here. I cannot believe
Cool.
Andrew Cuomo thinks the average New Yorker knows who Hassan Piker is. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean,
They do now.
now.
There's going to be 50,000 in chat tomorrow.
Yep, they
Yeah.
know now. He
They're
just
like,
I want
wants
him on
his
Morning
Twitch.
Joe tomorrow.
Yep.
I am Alex. I'm the resident New Yorker here. I have Devil's Advocate Productions on YouTube and Twitch. Devil's Advocate C on Twitter and Blue Sky. I just made a review for last night's episode of South Park, which they skewered Peter Thiel and Christian
Oh.
nationalism as a whole. And yeah, I make movie reviews, trailer reactions, video game reviews, music, album reactions. I did Wu-Tang Forever. Just listened to that for the first time recently. So yeah, that's what I do.
I'm Sandy from Left of the Box, the token Canuck on the panel. I recently posted a Charlie Kirk video in honor of Charlie Kirk National Day of Remembrance.
Okay.
And it absolutely should be getting more views than it is. But Bo Zed, I don't recommend your mom listens to it.
Yeah, Bo.
I curse a little bit. I also do regular weekly news live streams about primarily Canadian stuff, but it also crosses over into like European and American stuff. Also, buy my book. It's a vampire horror.
Yes.
This is the perfect season for it. October, read a vampire horror book. And if you like my politics, you'll love my book.
Hank Thompson, who gave us the motion graphics that we've been using between shows, which I love. It's such a level up. How are you doing? It is. I'm not
Hey,
kidding.
thank you. Nice to meet all of you. I appreciate that. Looking forward to doing some more. All those graphics are iterative. We can always improve whenever needed. So I have some professional background in video editing and motion graphics and stuff like that. I worked for the Young Turks off and on over the years, starting 2013. Kind of been around this online progressive world quite a while. Was a TOT fan back in like 2008. So my whole story goes way back. I can get into more of that some other time, of course. I've been on Letterhack. I actually just had Matt and Sandy both on my show, Winners and Losers, for excellent interviews. I do a podcast called Winners and Losers. I'm actually getting ready to start another show related more to like production and like creative process sort of stuff like that. I don't post as consistently as I should. I'm sort of a mess. I'm working on my main documentary project currently is Tell the Truth, Jank, a film about unionizing the Young Turks and the media and political drama that emerged from this really weird and intense labor story that Cenk Uygur is very intent on it never being told as he does not want he does not want this story out there, the reasons why we unionized and all that. So he doesn't, but I was in the middle of it, and so it's an interesting story, and it's an anti-capitalist project to, take Cenk's clumsy capitalism and use it sort of like a prism to deconstruct the white light of capitalism into all the different, shades of the way it works. So it's sort of ongoing and long and taking a while. I could keep going.
Everyone,
feel free to ask
everyone,
but
should support that.
that's.
I was friends with Anna for the better part.
Yeah,
of
it'll be
decade,
fun
man.
when it's finally done. We might get some. Yeah, I was at. Sorry, but I know all those people in person, and it's kind
And
of
man on the
interesting to see how
inside.
people
I mean,
react to
we
this
should
whole
all
thing.
have.
But anyway,
we should do an all-in where we all
Yeah.
just grill Hank for every juicy detail that he can reveal about behind the scenes. But he's also pretty open.
got a lot,
A
guys.
lot of that's
Yeah.
out there. AG.
I'm the Angry Ginger.
the stuff I haven't
do,
been allowed to say. One final plug, just real fast.
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
I messed up.
Go for
Sorry,
it.
go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good.
The last thing I was going to say is I've done a little bit of work on Abby Martin's movie Earth's Greatest Enemy, which is starting to do screenings around the country. It's a huge project. It's a beautiful and it's an important film, and they put a ton of work into that. So just wanted to plug Earth's Greatest Enemy. I'm sure it'll hit like the internet wider release next year if you can't catch it at a screening. Sorry about that, Angry Ginger. Nice to meet all of you guys.
No, you're good. You're good.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm the Angry Ginger, and I obviously I stream on this space on Thursdays. I stream on Wednesdays and Saturdays over on my channel, and for the most part, I just talk a lot of trash and kind of started this whole thing making fun of MAGA, and haven't stopped for 2 or 3 years. So that's me.
Awesome. Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm Jeff. I'm the host, one of the hosts of Good Morning Comrade, alongside our pal Robert, who also hosts the Lumencast. We syndicate to this space and also broadcast live on WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3 and twitch.tv/Good Morning Comrade. Hank, in my day job, I'm actually a union organizer, and we cover a lot of union stuff on GMC. We got to talk to you about this when it's rolling out, and that would be cool.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
100%.
Thanks again, everybody.
I'm so down. Yeah, I've learned the hard way. Go ahead.
It's
Matt.
rough out there. Yeah, I mean, but I would love to see that collaboration. Speaking of collaborations, okay, look, we have this is something I'm not sure how practical this is for a lot of people to do, but we have like our pick of like 12, 13 different clips from tonight's debate. And so what I wanted to do was show some of those. I'm going to make them available to everyone on our working Discord for this space. So if you guys want to cover this tomorrow, it's clipped. Like, it's fully clipped. That's just one of the benefits of being a part of our collective. I want to thank Jet for doing all that in real time tonight. Let's start out with what we missed. Let's go back to the very beginning because we didn't start streaming it right away and we didn't have everyone here at this point. So this is a quick clip, but let's go back to this. Feel free to talk over it. Tell me to pause it, whatever you want.
Imagine it's January 2027 and you have been in office for exactly 1 year. We would like you to quickly give us one headline about what you think your biggest accomplishment will have been
really is Joe Biden.
in year number one. We'll begin with you, Mr. Cuomo.
First, thank you very much for sponsoring the debate and having all of us. The one headline, how many characters in the headline?
You're familiar with headline length.
Rent down, comma, crime down, comma, education scores up,
Down.
comma, more jobs in New York City.
Now we're getting maybe a little
No,
longer average headline.
Bro.
But
No.
Optimism high.
thank you.
Help.
Mr.
Stop.
Sliwa.
This isn't the
Curtis Sliwa
blue
is
check
without
tweet.
his iconic red beret because I'm talking to the people of New York City about the really serious issues
about
of
yourself.
affordability, the cost of living, and obviously what I spent most of my life doing, which is public safety in the
Well,
streets and the subways.
We would love a headline from you.
I was gonna say, it's a hell of a headline.
Headline in year number one as mayor.
Curtis Sliwa exceeds all expectations and looks
not
very mayoral tonight.
Well,
Mr.
that's a
Mamdani,
very
you've had
low
some time to
bar.
think about it
so-
now. What's your headline?
It's a pleasure to be here, first of all, and I really want to thank the moderators and the opportunity to speak directly to New Yorkers about this moment in time and our opportunity to transform the most expensive
Okay.
city in the United States of America. The
You
headline
did that
would read
shit.
in about a year, Mamdani continues to take on Trump, delivers on affordability agenda for New Yorkers.
Thank you,
Hell
Mr.
yeah.
Mamdani. Sally?
Thank you, Melissa. We're going to talk.
See, it's good. I mean, I could have predicted that the one guy would flub it, right? Cuomo. That means what he said was just ridiculous. Sliwa.
Sliwa. I think it's
He's
Sliwa.
talking about
Slimy.
himself. He's basically just talking about himself again, this overbearing, self-proclaimed vigilante. And then Mamdani stares right down the barrel and says, take on Trump, make New York more affordable. I mean, what
Pretty
the
simple.
fuck else would
Yeah.
you want to hear him say?
Well, you
So
have three
then they
different
launched-
people there. Three people that one being, like you said, he's a bit of a Joe Biden. He's older. He's out of touch. And then you got Sliwa, who is an influencer before it was cool to be an influencer. So old and out of touch.
Oh, good
and
way
then
to
you've
put it.
got Mamdani, who is a guy who sees a chance to both take a hold of the mic and say what he needs to say to the people, and then finishes it up in the way he should.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I do think that there's, I don't know, like there's a number of things that we were like this. Okay, so I personally love watching this kind of shit, like as a viewer, where everyone's just talking over the debate. I love it because, like in real life, we'd be sitting in my living room shouting at the fucking TV.
Yeah.
So that's real. So, but let's look back at another clip real quick, and we can talk about this. This is what I was waiting for this, and I don't feel like I heard it. So we were either talking over it or it was before we were watching. But this is the National Guard. Sliwa, thank you. This is the National Guard New York City bit.
And we have another polarizing issue that we would love to discuss with you candidates. And let's talk about the National Guard here in the city of New York. Now, let's go back to Mr. President Donald Trump. One threat hanging over the city is the deployment of the National Guard troops, like he has done, as you all know, in other cities. The NYPD commissioner has rejected the idea as unnecessary. But the president ordered troops to hit the streets of New York. Now, how would you respond? Mr. Sliwa, you have a minute.
There's no need for the National Guard in New York. Kathy Hochul, the governor, when we had a crime crisis in the subways that I'm well familiar with, being down there all the time, unlike my two adversaries, she sent 750 National Guardsmen down into the subways in 2024. Remember the horrible case of Debrina Kawan, Does anybody even say her name anymore? That woman who was set on fire by that migrant. As a result of that, the worst crime I've ever seen committed in the subway system. The governor did the right thing. She sent an additional 250 National Guardsmen, giving us a total of 1,000 National Guardsmen in the subway system. Yep. While our mayor, Eric Adams,
the only crime that happens in the subways, guys, always committed by migrants.
So Governor Hochul has responded.
Always.
I would tell the President of the United States, since I'm familiar with cities all across America, I have very angels there. If you were going to send the National
Politico
Guard,
was
you don't
reporting
need to send them to
Mamdani's
New York City.
dominating
There
New
are
York
other
City
cities
mayoral debate.
that could desperately use.
Runners have made no major mistakes, and his opponents haven't landed any serious blows.
That's the thing. There's always this, it's a new threshold. The good guy gets to screw up maybe, and then the bad guy maybe redeems himself, and I think that's really weird. But like coming out of it, even when it was like Trump and Biden, they were like, Trump won that debate. And I'm like, this is insane that one guy did worse, so the other guy wins.
Yeah.
Like I don't appreciate that narrative at all.
Yeah, everybody can lose.
Dealing with their
American media's bad, it turns out.
Mr. Mamdani, how would you respond?
No trophy.
You know, I agree with Police Commissioner Tish in that we do not need the National Guard here in New York City. We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country, but he won't, because they're all run by Republicans. What New Yorkers need is a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump and actually deliver on that safety. When Donald Trump sent ICE agents on people in Los Angeles, Andrew Cuomo said that New Yorkers need not overreact. That is the furthest answer that New Yorkers are looking for. They are looking for someone who will lead, someone who will say that they will have their back, someone who will actually fight for the people of this city. And that's who I am, because I'm not funded by the same donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term, which isn't something that Andrew Cuomo can say.
There
and
you
know
go.
something that he's saying that or doing there that nobody else on that stage did the entire night was that he attacked Trump. Like Cuomo, can sit there and say, no, I'm a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat. And, at the end of the day, the things I'm going to do are going to be anti-Trump. But he won't even say that much, right? Sliwa, at the same time, knows that he has to appeal to the Democratic voters in New York as they make up the greater preponderance of voters in New York. And so he doesn't also in any way say Trump's good, but he also does not attack. And Mamdani, both because of his personal politics and also because he's a smart politician and understands where all of us are, at least the vast majority of Americans are right now, is that we all see Donald Trump as being the problem, and he attacked it. That's good.
That's exactly right. Great point. I just think like the headline, the fictitious headline they asked him to do where he just said, continues to stand up to Trump, makes New York more affordable. Like, this is not rocket science. Welcome in Jake Draw-Gillis of What You Can Do. Thanks for the raid, buddy.
Are you live from the Majority Report studio?
Yes.
I snuck in. Don't tell me.
He's like David Pakman. He stole the.
What'd you think? What'd you think of the debate overall, Jake?
Oh man, lots of things. I was delighted that Republicans seemed to hate Cuomo nearly as much as we did. I was impressed by Sliwa. He's kind of. I mean, he's the sort of person I wish we could go back to having as our regular opponents. I disagree with him, but he's not lying about what he wants to do, at least as far as I could tell. I think they're terrible ideas, but he's honest about his terrible ideas. And then Mamdani shocked me by being less good than he normally is. He's very good one-on-one with an interview.
Oh, you thought he was rattled?
He did awesome.
I thought he lost track of what makes him so popular. He kept going into very polished politician answers, clearly because he prepared for the debate. But they weren't answers that were going to sway the audience. And I was watching the audience as he was saying them, and he didn't sway it. So I think when he's asked questions that are complicated and nonsensical, or when, let's say, for example, when Cuomo lies about what he believes, like he wants there to be no Jewish yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
He's got to just keep his answers short and immediate and contradictory. Like, that was a lie he just told. I don't believe that.
What about when are you saying he wasn't as relatable?
Yeah, he sounded like a politician, in other words. It sounded like he was hiding things because he gave
I don't agree.
complicated answers when he should have given simple answers.
I don't agree. I
can
think
see
that
that.
he did just fine, and especially considering that he's up, double digits right now. He basically just needed to just kind of get through this and not look bad, which he did just fine.
I don't know. Those
Yeah, he
Tom
definitely
Tiger
did do bad.
comments are going to get him in trouble.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Let me
what
ask you
comment?
this. Past comments. Let me ask you this, Jake. What are you looking for him to? What area would, like, how would he switch it up between now and the next debate? That would,
When the main objection people had to him was that he is brown. And the reason that he was able to, what I'm doing right now is what he shouldn't do. You just asked me a direct question, and there was a lot of preamble. That nonsense. He's got to cut that off. What should he do next time? Answer questions directly and succinctly.
Let's look at
Especially when
another.
it's crap.
Yeah. Let's. That's interesting. Let's look at. It just tells me that I should be looking at this less like I'm like, okay, that's my guy. He's gonna win. Like I fall into that mode. Maybe I should be more critical. I don't know. Let's look at another brief clip. I think this is probably not from early on. This is about the cost of living in New York City. This is a major thing. Like they all talked about making New York more affordable, but Cuomo was very, very heavy on don't tax the millionaires, right?
A little bit, candidate, switching gears to the high cost of living in New York City. To kick us off, we have a few quick pocketbook questions that New Yorkers wrestle with daily. So we want to know how much you spend a week on groceries. We'll begin with you, Mr. Cuomo.
No idea.
Depends how many times my daughters come over.
Stupid.
But probably about $150.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa?
No way.
Jesus
I'd say about $175 with a gallon of milk, now $5 and always rising up. Loaf of bread. Simple loaf of bread. That
Loaf of bread.
99 cents,
Mr.
guys.
$3 now.
Thank
The
you.
price is too.
Mr.
It's
Sliwa,
too
thank you.
costly.
It's a brief answer. Thank you. Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, I actually agree with
He just
Curtis
won
on
the
that. It
bread
is
vote.
too costly.
I was impressed with that
Now that
answer.
eggs are
Isn't
down
it
to less
weird?
than $4, though, my average spend every week is about $125, $150.
I'm sorry,
Do you
but
care?
I feel like the average person spends a lot more on groceries in a week than the three of them combined.
When
Yeah.
we
I'd
can
imagine
afford
$500.
to,
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
we
like
can afford to, at the right supermarket that we found deep in Queens, we spend about $200 for
Yeah.
a week's worth of groceries.
Like I'm like, really? I spent like 125 for like 2 days worth of dinner. Like, come on now.
Okay, hypothetical fantasy question for the room, the group. If this was a presidential race, would you approve of Sliwa as Mamdani's running mate?
Hell no.
Hey,
if
we're
I can say,
uniting-
because
we're
I like what
voting
I like what
basis.
Jake said, and that was what Jake was saying about qualifiers. How Mamdani was adding a lot of qualifiers, right? And that's because when you're worried about how more powerful people and less common people are going to perceive you, you start to add in a lot of like extra words because you want to make sure on the left. We do it a lot because people on the left are really self-critical and also critical of each other, right? So you'll start to make an argument and then you'll change your argument partially through it to start explaining why the argument that hasn't been made yet that somebody could make is wrong, right?
Right.
So,
It's so fucking annoying.
when you say whether or not to bring Sliwa in as a vice president, I said it earlier while we were watching, is that Sliwa was actually doing a better job than Cuomo. And that's because
I agree with
Sliwa
that.
was more relatable. Some of the things he said about, reusing buildings for homes and stuff, though they might be a little fantastic, they weren't bad, right? It's like the right idea. It's like trying to be positive about a situation rather than what we see from conservatives right nowadays, this specific MAGA Republican Party, is it's all fear, anger, and hate, right? There's no hope. There's no positivity. And the one thing that Sliwa did that most Republicans don't do nowadays is he was kind of talking from a sense of things could be better. Would I want him as a vice president?
Democrats don't even do that shit.
Not even Democrats. And would I want him as vice president? I would be concerned about the legitimacy of the position with Sliwa as the vice president, but I would take him over Cuomo because I think Cuomo is status quo. I think Cuomo is a liar. I think that he's full of shit, and I think that if you put somebody like Sliwa in as a vice president, at least he would be speaking from experience and not from what he thinks people want to hear.
In this case, I wouldn't mind if Sliwa were to drop out. I wouldn't mind him endorsing Zoran and Zoran embracing that and being like, you know what, we can convert some of these empty.
Seems like they could work
I
together.
agree. There's empty fucking buildings all over the place that look like they could be for corporate, but no one's in there ever. They could be converted. That's not a bad idea.
Two things jump to mind. First being, it makes me very happy to hear you guys saying that, because I said the same thing while we were live. That was a thing of Sliwa's that I was like, I can get behind this. This is not bad. It tells me there's rationality to what we're thinking. We have arrived independently there. That's good. The other thing, though, I want to be just crystal clear on, we're being extraordinarily generous to Sliwa because he is a conservative. He is a member of a gang that assaults people on the regular.
Right.
I made a video about it, actually.
You're making him sound cooler than he is.
Yeah.
Well, they do hate crimes on the regular. How about that?
Yeah. No, he's dangerous.
If he were the
They're
actual
tackle immigrants, dude.
they would suddenly be reported on
During
as they
interviews.
should have been reported on the whole time.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he keeps running. There must be just some sort of status to it, or
It never stops.
There's
He's
some
an
sort of
influencer.
monetary
He's an
wheel.
influencer.
Yeah, that's a
You're
good way to
called
put
it,
it.
Ginger. He's been an influencer since the 80s. That's
good.
what
Yeah.
Put on the
Like I said,
radio.
when he went on
He's
Oprah.
got a radio show, right? Alex?
Yeah. He's got a
Oh,
radio
shit, that's
show.
right.
He's like,
Okay.
that's what it's his career to run.
He's
as
been on
I
podcasts
have a
when they
radio
interview
show.
him.
Maybe I could be a Curtis Sliwa.
We could maybe
They really interview him. He's like, I understand why these kids like Zoran's ideas. They feel abandoned, and no one's out there to help them. And Zoran's, providing them with, things that can help them. And I'm like, whoa, dude, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's why I think he's a secret communist, because he wears that red beret all the
Shout
time.
out to Andy's chat, by the way. Hello to that orange pumpkin pie that you're petting right there.
And I
Hello.
was going to say, let's check in with Canada. Sandy, was there anything relatable or anything during the debate where like we definitely don't have that going on here? Or do your candidates get asked about Israel and Gaza all the time, like for the first 30 minutes of a debate, or like?
Also,
What's your take?
If Cuomo runs for president, should he have Suge Knight as his running mate?
Yeah. Good question. Good
Solid.
question.
Well,
What do you
Well,
think,
just
Sandy?
the talk of like affordability and grocery prices and stuff like that. We have all the same issues up here. And there's usually like the very end, we get a couple of those stupid questions like, what's your favorite restaurant? Or, stuff like that too. That's par for the course. But ours tend to be a lot more boring because we don't have anyone exciting. It's on conservative side, on the left or left-ish side. There's no one really bringing energy to debates. There's no one really prepared to do anything. Like it.
Who's that lady that Pierre's so afraid of? She was a diplomat.
That's pretty much every lady.
All of Canada.
That's half the population there.
I was going to say 50%.
All right,
Statue of Liberty.
I'm gonna look this up.
Can you give me some other clues?
I'm trying to think. I think it's Anita Anand, the current Minister of Foreign Affairs. No,
Yeah, Foreign
that's not
Affairs.
right.
I'm surprised no one asked Curtis
That's not
Sliwa
what I
about
think
his
so.
cats.
Her
Does he have
name
a lot
is
of
Anita
cats?
Anand, so you got that
Yeah,
right.
he's a big
That's
cat
really good,
lover.
actually.
He like rescues cats. He's
From the subway, right? Of course, from the subway. The man's in the subway.
He suggested that feral cats that loose in the city would be a more effective way of dealing with rats than the current methods employed.
Once again, I'm down. I recognize Sliwa's racism. Okay.
Yeah, we
I see
recognize
people in
it.
my chat that are like that are going off about his racism. 100%. I understand. Like I said, I literally made a video about him, or not specifically him,
He's
but
not
his
good.
thugs
Yeah.
tackling immigrants
Yeah,
on the
cute.
street. But if he's saving cats, I have to say that that's a good thing.
Broken clock. There it is. No, but I
Don't worry,
really
he's this
do.
cat. He just doesn't like being on camera.
I love that this is becoming like a cat show. There are a lot of things that they will talk about in a debate usually when you're like, could you please ask the candidate about his platform? Come on. But so they did ask him about the free buses. I think transportation in New York City is a big deal.
And mispronounced that word, but okay.
Oh, come on.
Wow. Which word?
You can tell we're on the left.
EUS. I
Us.
think it's pronounced bus.
Kitties.
I was like,
I was a
hold on.
long stretch for a left.
I was going over it in my
We
mind.
got two
like,
ginger cats.
I did
Careful,
not.
they're a little
mispronounce.
crazy.
Okay, here, let's check this out.
That
Free
joke
bus.
was not worth the distraction, and I
True
apologize.
angry ginger.
But it's good because it's my joke. Where here it is. Just fill everybody in real quick. If you move away from home when you go back to visit, and you want to just joke around and lie about what you do for work, when they say, "So what do you do for work?" You wouldn't say, "I'm a school bus driver," because that sounds like you might be lying. But if you say, "I'm a school bus driver," the way that flows, "I'm a school bus driver," they'd be like, "I think he actually is a school bus driver." So that's where that joke comes from. It's a deep cut. Tune in to Left Past 10 every Wednesday night, where we are unscripted, off the rail fever dream of a show.
Yes.
Here we go.
About transportation and getting around town. And we have a few quick questions about how you get around town. Show of hands, even though they're in their waning days, who has a Metro card or maybe uses OmniPay?
Uses OmniPay?
Yeah, OmniPay, yeah. Metro card, I mean, I have one. but,
OmniPay.
Hanging on to the last
So
one.
you're on the subways, Mr. Sleewa. What do you use? I'm just curious. If you don't.
OmniCard. In fact, I got a whole batch.
Okay.
I'm in the subways. I'm in the buses. And
Oh, we know.
express buses. The only candidate who rides mass transit every day.
When you
Looking
need to
for
get somewhere
bad guys.
fast and you can't take the train, do you hail a taxi? Do you use rideshare? Mr. Slewa, what do you do?
I try to avoid yellow cabs. As you know, I was shot in the back of a yellow cab in 1992 by the Gattis and Gambinos. But I'd find my way around. If I have to, I Uber if I can't
so
get
proud
there
of
by
that.
mass transit.
What do you do, Mr. Mamdani, if you can't take the train?
Part
I
of
would
his
either
origin
take a
story.
cab or ride a bike.
Mr.
I mean, it's
Cuomo?
practically two.
I will take a cab, Uber.
Okay. All right. Thanks, gentlemen. Sally?
Thank you, David. Let's talk about free
He is a
buses.
driver.
Mr. Mamdani, this is a centerpiece of
Yeah,
your
Cuomo
campaign.
can't answer that
Can you
question.
explain how you will make buses free? You have 30 seconds to answer.
Absolutely. We will make buses free by replacing the revenue that the MTA currently gets from buses. This is revenue that's around $700 million or so. That's less money than Andrew Cuomo gave to Elon Musk and $959 million in tax credits when he was the governor. And the reason that we will do so is that making buses free doesn't just provide economic relief, but also public safety. Because what we've seen is that it decreases assaults on bus drivers by 38.9%. New Yorkers deserve more than the slowest buses in the country. I know that because I was on the M57 not too long ago, and its average speed is 4.9 miles
We're at
an
time,
hour.
though, but the question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares, and that's something that we would do in partnership with
not
Albany.
charging.
And I've put
How?
forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
We're going to move along, but I
Boom.
just want to point out to viewers
Lovely.
that Governor Hochul has opposed raising the income tax. But Melissa, we'll move on to your question.
Could I address that on the buses? Because
coming to you
half
next.
the people don't pay their bus fare to begin with, Zorhan. And so it's
Obviously, it's too expensive.
The racism came out right
free
there.
Bus fare, and the Citizens Budget Commission said just last year, 2024, $1 billion of fare evasion in all different forms. This MTA system will collapse. There's not enough money out there to make up for fare evasion. Pay your fare. If you don't pay your fare, they have fare programs
dude. All
for the
right.
poor and the
That's his
indigent.
plan.
But everybody should be forced to pay
Chastise.
their fare.
So that okay, so this
Yeah, Jason,
that
watch it.
really kind of like did it for me. I was already convinced of who should be mayor here, and it's not even where I live. But like,
The letter hack jumps turnstiles. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
We're gonna be committing voter
I have.
fraud for
And I
Mamdani,
support it.
by the way, guys. So
I jumped.
watch out for that.
I jumped a turnstile
So
from
I
Brooklyn
lost
to
Matt's
Manhattan after the trains had stopped running, and I had to jump it back. So look, this is the thing. The one guy is. I mean, okay. He's giving an articulate answer. They asked him to give the actual answer to the question. Fine, whatever. You're on TV. There's a lot going on. He's looking at a lot of lights. He got jumped. Whatever. Good answer. This is how we'll raise taxes. Easy to do. People are already doing it. Nearby, New Jersey. Why aren't we doing it? That was great. And then you get the old guy pointing at you, telling you what to do, shaking his finger after saying, like, I'm in the subways all the time. Like he's fucking Batman down there, like trying to get people. Like, there's who is listening to that going, yes, it's the people who aren't on the subway, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Mega
a thing?
Republicans.
Yeah.
Mega Republicans love Curtis Lee while yelling. That's one of the problems with this current political situation we have right now is, you know, people really chastise Kamala Harris's campaign, and I have a lot of criticism for her campaign for different reasons, but they chastise her about like not being able to really like talk in detail about policy, right? You heard that a lot. Like, oh, she doesn't have policy. She doesn't.
It's
talk
always
about
for the
policies.
Democrats too.
Yeah, and it's always because, like I said, the Democrats are super self-critical. They're way too fast to call out their own, especially in public places. But to be honest, it kind of goes a little bit with what Jake was saying, is that like, so Donald Trump, he scraped the bottom of the barrel. He got people off their couch that never wanted to vote and never thought that their vote mattered, never cared about voting. And he motivated them with fear, anger, and hate and then, as Sandy was saying there, he also started entertaining. He started insulting the people across from him. He started making it funny. Things that people generally would not tune into, they started tuning into to watch. And to be honest, Curtis Lewa is only failing because Curtis Lewa is in a hyper-democratic state, in a hyper-democratic city. If we were talking about this in Nebraska, you know, you'd be talking about a whole different story right now. We'd be going, Sliwa's killing it. Sliwa's about to take this race by 1,000,000%. Why? Because he's quick with what he says. Mamdani's using stats and statistics, and we all know MAGA, their eyes glaze over. When you start using numbers,
mine do too. Yeah.
The only and to be honest, yeah, a lot of people do. And
that's
the way you
shit.
keep them from doing that is you
vibes.
start saying numbers like 17 trillion instead. Like, if Mamdani wants to win MAGA, he needs to go, we're gonna you know, what is it? Saudi Arabia has given me $18 trillion to pay for the buses. You know, like,
giving me a plane.
They've given us a plane. I'm going to put everybody on the plane. Good.
Naming after Epstein, you know?
No, I was just reminded of something. I'll add this to stage. Free transit actually is a thing. You might be surprised. This was done in a community up here in Canada, and it raised ridership by like 150 to 160%.
This is how leftists across the world can lift each other up. You're leading by example, Canada.
By the year end, have increased by 150, 160%, said the mayor. It's really impacting the entire community positively, she said. The reason for that big spike, Orangeville's buses became free in 2023 as part of a test program, which the town just pledged to continue until 2027. And all the stats when these types of things happen shows it absolutely does have a net positive impact on communities because people are able to travel more. They're able to invest in stores and go shopping in downtown areas, travel to get to jobs, and there's less traffic on the streets, so the pollution cuts back. It's just overall, it's great for people who normally don't have a car, can't afford cabs and stuff like that, like are just broke. This allows them to have a life, to be able to go and be part of the community, to get to doctor's appointments without having to pay, all that sort of stuff.
It's freedom, it's basic freedom of movement stuff.
Yeah. You have to be able to
I will
move
say
around.
this. I know nobody has brought this up yet. We've been talking about all this like policy stuff or whatever. Let's get to the real business.
Hassan Piker.
Yes, exactly.
I got the clip.
You got the clip?
Yeah, you're ready.
Good, 'cause I knew this part.
issue that you may be able to
Yes,
address. Go ahead.
I did applaud President Trump and his administration. I think it was a great accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserves 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. Meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the
That is a
sea.
Jewish state.
That's why he won't denounce globalize the
lie
Intifada,
he
which
just
means kill all Jews.
Let's give Mr.
That's
Mamdani
not
a
what
chance
that
to respond
means.
to that.
Not
I want
what
to be
that
very
means.
clear.
Yes,
The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense.
God is that?
During the course of this
Yes,
genocide.
son.
And I find the comments
He
that
was
the
born in
president made on
America.
9/11
Hassan can't run.
to be
Well, he is
objectionable
from-
and
he was born in
reprehensible.
Jersey,
And I
so who
also
knows?
think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR, so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring
Okay,
you
Mr. Mamdani,
right on your
thank
suit
you.
jacket.
Melissa
We
has
got to
a-
cut you off
We're
there.
gonna turn to Sally.
Way to cut you off
Exactly.
there,
This
sir.
kind of flows,
Please
and then
stop.
we'll go back to Melissa. Mr. Mamdani,
I do have
during NBC's Meet the
I do
Press
have this
that you don't-
Hassan live reaction, by the way, if y'all want to see that.
Yeah.
Before we
I
comment
really
on
went to
that.
the
Hold on a
stream
second.
as soon
I
as
got
his
it.
name was mentioned. I was like, I gotta see
Before
this.
we pull that up, can I comment on what we just saw?
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's crucial.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think Mamdani was consciously playing towards the center left. I
Yes.
think that's what he was trying to do with that answer.
I think that's what he's trying to do with the
Unfortunately-
debate.
Yeah, the whole debate. You're right.
Yeah.
But you don't think he should
because
do
he knows if you're a leftist, you're with him, and he knows if you are a progressive, if you're a right winger, you're also probably with him because everybody hates Democrats except for the people he's trying to appeal to. But he has made an error here because the assumption is that center left are educated. We have found out recently they are not. So when he says a sentence like that's a matter of international law, instantly nothing is going to be taken in. You know what that means? I know what that means because we came in knowing what it means. But nobody who listened to that didn't already know what it means was educated.
I think. Do you think he's taking stock in the fact that his polling numbers hasn't changed since winning the primary? He basically still has all the support that he had. The Republican support that Sliwa has is meaningless, and Cuomo is still trailing. Like, do you think that he's just like, I don't know, is he speaking to the center left there, or is he just? I mean, how much of a risk is he at?
Well, it's funny because I think I forgot what someone like conservative, whatever. It's like, more than half of New Yorkers don't want New York City, don't want Mamdani because they're adding Curtis Sliwa's and Andrew Cuomo's percentage, which is still kind of stupid if you ask me, because they're two completely different candidates. You can't just add their percentage numbers and then make that like, oh, no one wants Mamdani.
Right.
How much would Sliwa have to give Cuomo to drop out, do you think?
A position.
I don't think he's for sale.
They just one of Republican
Cuomo?
strategists just.
No, I don't think Steve was for sale.
No, Cuomo's definitely for sale.
Sorry, I meant Sliwa. Sliwa is not for sale.
They just launched Super PAC.
He's a true believer. Like again, he stands for like horrible things or whatever, but at least he's like believes in the horrible things. That doesn't make him like
Yeah, I know.
good
That's
or
why I
anything
didn't
like
say
that.
that. My suggestion is that after this, he actually has a chance of being the second place candidate. And I'm wondering how much Cuomo would be for sale because he did so terribly. I can't fathom. But Letterhack, I missed it. What were you saying?
Oh, that he Sliwa had a Republican strategist launch a super PAC for him just recently, and he's already spending the money on ads and stuff. So, I mean,
I've seen those ads.
It was in a rundown where it was like, what have the candidates been doing this past weekend? This is from a report I saw on New York local Fox News for Monday. And they were like, oh my God. Zoran was everywhere. He did a 5K, went to somebody's church that wasn't his, did a whole bunch of stuff.
The guy's a machine.
And they're like, Sliwa launched a super PAC, and Cuomo was at like some sort of like made appearance in Queens for a few minutes. And I was just like, listen to what's happening here. The Republicans are giving the guy who won't win money, right?
Yep.
Like raising, but why? I mean, doesn't that seem like a waste? I don't know. Maybe not. And so maybe that's just the whole point of this. Cuomo didn't do shit. And like the guy who's leading was out there fighting like he, isn't leading, right?
Yeah,
like he's
yeah,
out there
yeah.
doing things like, and
Stop
that's what makes
swinging.
it feel authentic to me.
But
yeah,
I think this was his debate to lose, and he not only didn't lose, he did great. But like you're saying, he's playing to the center left. He's playing to the business interests who are like, are we going to be able to survive? He's trying to make everyone calm down because they know he's going to win.
Do you think he got on the phone with Jeffries and Schumer right away and was like, okay, what now, motherfuckers?
Yeah, how much waiting for? He wouldn't waste his fucking time with that. Like honestly, like fuck it, stay away. Like don't endorse him. Who cares? You already decided yourself.
You got Bernie and AOC on CNN to handle that stuff.
Yeah,
like they're on the national front. Like
I'm trying to imagine. Like what would Zoran have had to have done tonight that would have changed the statures of the race? You know what I mean? Beyond moving a tiny percentage point or two at most. Television. But like, so it was his job. Yeah, exactly. He would have had to whip it out and start doing stuff on, and make a scene. And I kind of find this whole process of debates during every election cycle. They each have their own specific needs and stuff, but they definitely. Applicability to the current election system. But I'm always frustrated by the shortness of the answers and sort of the way that these things are kind of conducted, just in terms of what little respect that shows to most viewers. Although I guess I'm
you get like a
once again, you're
explain like your 5
follow
point
politics
plan.
very closely.
Yeah.
But so they're trying to win they're trying to win the bounce.
The answers.
Yeah, because I think that's a left
I think 15
thing.
seconds is not short enough. I think 15 seconds could be extended to 25 seconds. But I'm saying that they're playing to the bounce. They're playing to what happens afterwards. So if the best that that Cuomo and Sliwa were hoping for was that somehow, I mean, were they even what is the yes condition to like tomorrow's poll being Cuomo takes the lead? I can hardly imagine.
I think there's one
there.
I think there's one thing. If Mamdani had came out and completely disavowed all of his support for the Palestinian people and stuff, and had given in to pressure as far as that's where those questions were leading. Like they're pretty much leading towards: are you going to go hardcore progressive and say Zionism is disease or whatever, or are you going to try to do what Kamala Harris is? There's a reason we're not running, okay?
Exactly.
Or are you going to do it? One of my biggest criticisms of obviously Kamala Harris's campaign: are you going to attempt to appeal to center-right people, knowing that they have no want to vote for you in the first place? And that, I think, would have actually made a big difference, because I think that he would have let down a part of the left that is absolutely traumatized by the amount of times that they have been let down by Democrats in this fucking party.
Yeah, there you go.
It was his to fuck up. It was his
Sandy, overall, what'd you think?
Well, okay. I don't particularly like Andrew at all. I didn't even like him when he was the governor. When I met him, I thought he was a very arrogant kind of guy. And I think he just did a little bit too much that showed the jerk he is. Really. I think he's kind of
like Trump.
Yeah, a little bit like the centrist Democrat BS. I mean, he's just awful. The only thing I did agree,
arrogance.
I don't like him, but I didn't like him when he was governor. I did agree with him on Indian Point, being that I lived near there for years, and he's right. Indian Point's old. Indian Point needed to be shut down. The technology is changing, and it's ridiculous. Any kind of meltdown there, and that's millions of people. So that's the only thing he was really right about.
Yeah, actually, my off-screen wife said when there was talking about that she she's over there eating dinner right now, but that she's driven past that numerous times and it was in disrepair. And it needed to be shut down.
I'm old. I dated a guy that worked there.
So you got some ties to that place.
Do we have that clip of Hassan reacting to
I have
his
it pulled
name
up. I can't bring it up, but I have it ready to present.
Oh.
Put it in the private
Well,
chat.
where am I?
Here we
go.
go.
There I am. I moved.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, Gianmarco.
Wait, he was Gianmarco Scorsese? What the hell?
Yeah.
Mr. Cuomo, while you are a strong supporter of Israel, you have also
They
been
look like
slow to develop a
fat and skinny
relationship with
brothers.
the city's
Yeah.
Muslim.
Mario and
You
Luigi,
have
power
called
user
Mr.
for those who
Mamdani
get the
a
subs.
terrorist
God, look at that.
sympathizer. How do you
Look at
assure
that
those
shot.
New Yorkers, especially Muslims and Arabic New Yorkers, that you will be a mayor for all? You'll have 1 minute.
Yeah, well, first, I think the assemblyman created the perception himself. Why wouldn't he condemn Hamas? Why wouldn't he condemn Hassan Piker? Why did he still won't globalize the intifada? Which is Jews. Just say, I denounced it.
So many older Jewish Americans are looking up right now.
Another plane hit the Hassan Tower because he might be white.
Community did not.
Oh my
How
god!
did this happen? You know why we should denounce Hassan? Because he shocked his poor dog. That's what we need to denounce him for.
That I was kind of shocked.
Oh.
I saw that. I'm like, shit.
Oh,
I had,
yeah.
I had the same kind of dog he had, and I never had to have a shock collar. and I've had Rottweilers. What the hell is wrong with him? Doesn't he know how to train a dog?
No, hold on.
Dog.
Hassan does not use shock collars.
No.
But what happened?
No, that was totally debunked. First of all, sorry, Jeff. Did not mean to do that.
Really?
My bad.
I felt
Hassan
that.
does not do that. It was a misinterpreted.
It was total
like,
bullshit,
flip.
Yeah.
Total
I fell
bullshit.
for it.
The people
None of that's
behind
true.
it,
Okay.
the
All of his
people
haters
behind
just
that
like
rumor are
came
sex
shooting.
pests, rapists, and pedophiles.
I
who
fell
started that
for it.
rumor.
I didn't see much,
If
but I was like,
you-
"Are you kidding me?"
Okay, so first of all, you're right to
don't
take the
blame
dog
you.
side in almost every case. Okay, so I'm not
I
faulting
think
you.
Kaya
But-
did this on purpose to get
Understandable.
more
Those
attention.
shots.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I
But
think she did
if
that.
you-
I think she did
so
on purpose.
sorry.
All the people who are looking him up right now, all the
Harry
people who
Ellis.
watch the debate and are like, Hassan who? They're going to see that bullshit. So
Yeah.
that's like,
Oh my
it's
God.
trolling, right? That's what
Meanwhile,
they're doing.
Hassan platformed a liberal Zionist and treated him with kids clubs. I'm like, that's actually a legit criticism we could have of him.
Go after him
Like-
for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just
But
the
like-
fact that he was mentioned in this debate that is on the
That's so
national
stupid.
stage.
They just
Like,
gave him
that's gonna get
10,000 subscribers.
yes. Like,
Yeah,
look,
how come
I
he
hope
didn't
he
say
goes
this-
on
this
fucking Morning
space?
Joe.
Yeah.
I hope he's on CNN.
When
I hope
will
they bring him
Zoran
on.
Mamdani
Who's
denounce
this guy
this
that Andrew
space?
Cuomo mentioned during the debate? Let's have him on. Have
what's
that
a-
be the center fucking voice on TV. Oh my
Let
God.
Hassan moderate a debate.
Yeah.
Moderate a mayoral
Andrew
debate.
Cuomo's gonna be like,
When will Mamdani denounce only
this
plays?
motherfucker's from New Jersey.
Shock. Shock gate.
Just like you, Christina.
I know. Central Jersey, which people think doesn't exist, but it does. Okay.
It does.
I'm excited for the Bruce Springsteen.
New
Since I'm from Freehold, like Bruce, I'm excited to see
Ooh.
parts of Freehold
Jersey's
and
a
Asbury Park when the movie comes out next
I
week.
used to hang out in Freehold. Christina, my girlfriend,
Oh,
lived there.
hey.
She moved from Westchester, where I lived in New York.
Uh-huh.
She moved to Freehold. We used to call it Freehold in the Wall.
Have you ever been to Federici's or Jersey Freeze?
I can't remember. You know,
Those are
how
like the
old- I'm ancient. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Now, those places been around for generations. So.
That's a yes.
Also,
Um,
too, these people don't realize that there are people who train their dogs with invisible fences that actually do shock their dogs.
Oh, we
if
have
they
them all
try
over
to get
my
off.
neighborhood. It's
We
horrible.
have that for the
Yeah.
horses across the street.
Huge.
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's
just
like-
saying if I'm
don't
sitting
like
there and something suddenly starts to vibrate, I'd probably yelp too.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I mean, I
Fair.
can't,
Hell yeah.
but I'm like, yo,
Fair.
we ladies, are we using those vibrators wrong? What's happening here?
It's like, so these collars, exactly, what size do they come in?
Imagine if it imagine if it zap you.
Let's do our best yelps.
They come in small, medium, large, and lonely spinster.
It would be funny. Yeah. If it, it's just funny that people think like all of a sudden Hassan decides to start electrocuting his animal on screen as if he doesn't have
That-
the kind of know
I've
know
seen-
how
and-
to like. Why would you start doing that on camera?
And they're all-
after
they're also
spending your
they're also
life on camera
criticizing-
for 5 years in a row.
They're also criticizing him for putting her like in a pen. I'm like, I've known how to train dogs my whole life since I do animal sit, and I've had
Yeah.
animal sit. I've had animal
Ooh.
sit like puppies, so like the owners would tell me like what to do when it comes to dog training to keep the training grow. I know people who crate train their dogs and keep their dogs in crates for like 12 hours a day.
I don't like that either.
Which I don't like either. It's like, no.
I don't. Why have a dog? I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
I
why we have
had
cats.
2 Rottweilers, a Shepherd Chow Chow. None of them ever had to stay in a crate.
I will say,
And I
for
had
crates
cats.
in general, like I will crate train, and dogs think of them differently than you or I might. They enjoy a safe.
Not for 12 hours.
No, yeah, 12 hours is insane. That's an
ridiculous.
insane thing to do.
But this is
for
why
like an
Curtis
hour.
This is why Curtis Seawall is for the cats. You know, I might end up considering voting for him now.
Yep. I'm
I have
down with
7
that.
cats.
I do have
You're
to
gonna
say,
vote
I
illegally
was,
for Curtis Lewa?
I was very surprised. Like, and admittedly, this is partially a product of the times we're in, but I have more respect for Curtis Sliwa on the other side of this debate than I did going in. This is still acknowledging that he is part of a bigoted gang that wanders the city assaulting minorities.
Yeah.
Nice qualifying. I
He-
like
he-
the qualifying.
the modern KKK guy. I guess you got to hand it to him.
They're a lot
the
better
way
now.
He talks is authentic. It sounds like a real person talking. A crazy
Not just
person that you'd
sounds like.
pass on the street, but a real person that you would pass on the street instead of Andrew Cuomo just kind of like
Archie
mush
Bunker.
mouth.
But it's not just a matter. It's not just about presentation and perception. It's about his actual level of
genuine.
deception.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he
who
was
he
not
is.
lying
Yeah.
when he was up there. And now I might disagree with what he thinks is going to happen as a result of his policies, but he wasn't up there saying like, "Oh, Zoran Mamdani thinks that there should be no more Israel as
Right.
we know it," or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Like
the kind of
Andrew did.
Yes, and that's sort of the point I'm making. If we're looking at who our enemies are, as in who's dangerous to U.S. politics, who's destructive to U.S. politics, it's more people like Cuomo who lie about their intentions than it is people like Sliwa who are
Absolutely.
upfront about their douchey intentions.
Right.
So here's why I want to take it next because
Does
I was
Sliwa have
listening-
ambitions? All right, go ahead.
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, to roam the subway.
Yeah, he wants to.
Yeah, his
No,
ambition is to run
He needs
for
a Robin,
mayor
AKA.
of New York City again in 4 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like that's why I feel like it's just a wheel that keeps going. So,
And Proud
I heard,
Mary keeps on burning.
I heard from WNBC themselves that the moderators of this debate had been working on these questions for quote months. What about the people doing the next debate? Do they watch this and go, "Fuck, we got to throw out all"? I mean, they pretty much covered everything. You heard from all three people.
question.
I'm sort of wondering, do you guys think there's need for another debate? And like,
They should have asked more about Andrew Cuomo and his history with, sexually harassing women in the workforce. Like, but he
He's
kept like,
going
oh,
to deny it.
yeah,
But-
the New
but-
York
denying
State charging me for it. It's not, I'm like, it doesn't matter. You still had to resign in disgrace over it. That or the fact that what you did to elderly people during COVID. Like he's doing the Trump thing. He's doing the attack, deny and deflect and all that.
Mhm. And he's
COVID
doing
was a tough time in New
attack,
York.
deny, claim victory.
the even
Never
with the
admit
moderators,
defeat.
you can tell who the enemy is, and that's Mamdani. Because they're not asking questions about Cuomo's past. They're not. I mean, Sliwa. I mean, what are we going to do with Sliwa? We're going to be like, you're going to ask about the time that they tackled an immigrant on TV. I mean,
Yes.
sure. I guess
He'll
he gets a
lean into
pass.
that shit too. Yeah. And
He'll be like,
What
yeah,
about the time you were shot in a cab in 1992?
It's
He'll
really
just talk
Andrew.
about getting shot. Yeah, he'll just talk about getting shot. Whereas
Well,
you
go
can
back
tell
to the
who they
ignorant-
think.
By John Gotti, right?
back
Like,
to
is
the-
that who?
Immigrant,
God.
though.
I also got
guy-
shot by 50 Cent. You know, you can
That
you
guy-
can decide anybody.
That fella he tackled on live TV was then investigated because it was part of an altercation that was on live TV, and he was found by the law to have done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
again, Sliwa and his gang of thugs literally just assaulted a guy on live television,
Yep. Yeah.
and he's up there as a candidate. And he's not the worst candidate up there. We're in hell.
Yeah. I mean, that is a great point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, come on, Republicans, don't you have anything? Oh yeah, all those leaked text messages from the other day. Wow, that's the alternative.
But boys will be boys.
Yeah, don't ruin
And
their whole
that's pretty
career over some
disgusting.
DMs.
And that's also New York. I mean, that was the Republican
That's what I mean.
leader,
Yeah,
and
that's,
they are not young, and they're in Elise Stefanik's district.
They're
And
only
Mike
35.
Waller is a fucking
They should have
idiot.
asked. They should have asked the candidates about
That's
that
fine.
shit. That would have been.
I know.
No,
If you
that
want
was
you
right.
think
I mean, Silwell was like, I would want Elise Stefanik to be governor. I would want this, and Mike Lawler to be mayor.
So awful.
So everyone
Terrible.
talks about his, Mamdani's complete lack of experience, and he's too young, and he doesn't have kids,
Not
and he doesn't
true.
know what he's
You
doing.
gotta start somewheres.
Let's listen to a question that his answer sort of addresses that.
Okay.
Thank you. Ristorina?
Thank you, Sally. In the theme of leadership, Mr. Mamdani, you work as a foreclosure prevention counselor for winning seat in the state assembly. You have no substantial management experience. How are you ready to lead the
rides a
nation's
bike through New York.
largest
Bullshit question.
and greatest city in the world in one day? You have a minute.
I have the experience of having served in the New York State Assembly for 5 years and watching a broken political system, the experience of seeing a governor in Andrew Cuomo who would rather have served his billionaire donors than the
Already
working
care.
class New Yorkers who voted for him, and the experience amidst all of that of fighting and winning for working class taxi drivers to free them from predatory debt and delivering the first free bus lines in New York City history, and in working with unions and working class New Yorkers to finally raise taxes just that little bit on Mr. Cuomo's donors to start to fully fund our public school. And more than that, I have the experience of being a New Yorker, someone who has actually paid rent in the city before I ran for mayor, someone who has had to wait for a bus that never came, someone who actually buys his groceries in this same city. And what all of that experience has shown me, which Mr. Cuomo can't seem to understand, is that it is far too expensive
Thank you,
and
Mr.
far
Mamdani.
too hard for New Yorkers to afford to live in this city. And the definition of experience is not doing the same thing again and again and hoping for a different result. That's actually the definition of insanity.
Thank you, Mr.
Excuse me.
Mamdani.
If I can, I think I was invoked.
Yes.
In other words, what the Assemblyman said is he has no experience. And this is not a job for someone who has no management experience to run 300,000 people, no financial experience to run
now Cuomo's
$115 billion budget. He literally has never had a
No sex
job.
past experience.
On his resume, it says he interned for his mother. This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a
You literally
hurricane,
got
you
where you
God
are
forbid,
today
a
because of who your
9/11,
father was.
a health pandemic. If you don't know
Thank
what
you,
you're
Mr.
doing,
Cuomo. We
people
have to
could
move on.
And
die.
Mr.
Mamdani,
You don't want to
one
mention
response.
COVID
And
there,
if we
Andy.
have a health pandemic, then why would
That's
New
gonna be
Yorkers
played
turn
on
back
you
to the governor
over
who
and
sent
over.
seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have an experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in
God,
experience.
cook
That was good.
Great line.
And he looked at him.
That was the
With
best
heart.
thing
He
he
saved
said.
it at the
During
end.
COVID, everyone did whatever they could in this state. And there have been numerous investigations.
You were the governor,
where
dude.
They've gone through it, and they said we
Oh, my
followed
God.
federal guidance. But yes, people died during COVID, and
was
my
tough.
heart breaks
It
for everyone that,
yeah, it had something to do
that
with
died
it.
in this state and across this nation.
But
He's
just
like,
to
I've never
confirm,
done
sir,
anything
just
wrong
to
in my
fact check
entire
that,
life.
There is a criminal investigation
Okay,
reported
I'm
by
trying to
the
find the guy who did this.
DOJ about your testimony to Congress about your nursing home record.
Yeah, that is a political issue with the Congress. They made it
No,
a referral,
political issue.
which has gone absolutely nowhere. But there have been multiple investigations where the DOJ found that
There's a lot
the
happening in this
nursing
clip.
home investigation was politically motivated.
That's what I mean,
We're
Jason.
going to move on.
It's to me, it's like, what's the next? What's part two of this? What's the sequel to this? How did the moderators handle? We're all a bunch of broadcasters. Let's say you had to moderate the second debate. How do you build off that, or do you just go, fuck it, nobody watched?
Yeah,
We'll just
No, I
post
would
it
look at the
build
later."
reaction
off
from the
it.
candidates. Look at
What
the
is your
reaction
favorite
from
slice?
the polls. Look at the reaction from the candidates. Look at the reaction from the polls, and focus the questions around what those realities are. You're going to find out where people's interest lies after this debate. You threw spaghetti at the wall with this one, and you did all the questions, and there's going to be one or two that people really want to hear about.
Yeah,
But the
keep in mind-
candidates themselves will change. And I want to point out, when I'm criticizing Mamdani, if you listen to the beginning of that answer again, that is exactly what the
long.
problem is.
Yeah.
Too long, too wordy, and also he did avoid the question. No matter how we want to slice it, he gave a vague, wordy answer because he didn't have a sure answer. Just say, I don't have... Give the last thing he said at the end should have been the only thing he said.
Yeah.
And he did do a very good job of recovering at the end, and that's important because once again, like I said, if you want an idea for a second debate, you go with the easy answer. You make it about Trump. You ask these three candidates, how are you going to respond?
And you really do want to make Andrew Cuomo cry, don't you?
Yeah, and I do.
How are you going to respond?
No,
and
I do.
How are you going if Mamdani? I mean, what I know they addressed this, I think, a little bit, but about Trump cutting funding for specific things in New York City. What about the states? The blue states just not paying federal taxes to the government anymore. There's a whole process for this. They're talking about this. I mean, that would definitely affect New York City.
It would definitely also affect states like South Carolina who don't pay enough. We mooch off of blue states all the time, except for maybe like Kansas, which explains a lot. But like there are a lot of people.
Kansas.
I don't know.
Toto, we're not in Kansas.
Yeah, but like a lot of Republicans, I'm like, you guys don't understand. We mooch off of blue states because we do not. The states don't pay enough taxes to fund, infrastructure and whatever the hell. Like we depend on states like California, Colorado, Illinois, New York, New Jersey. It is what it is because you guys don't want to pay taxes. That's why everyone's like, "Oh, I'm moving to Florida because they don't have any income tax." I'm like, well, if you wonder why Florida is such a shithole. Start with that.
Yeah, there you go, Christina.
I say, this is the first debate, right? So this is the one that everyone's gonna watch because oh shit, they're finally in face to face battle. So this is the one that everyone's gonna watch, and everyone being political commentators like us and people who are like already very invested in watching political content. So, like, the average New Yorker does not give a fuck. The average, how many people watch the presidential debates? Same thing. You get the clips on the news in the morning. You watch the parodies on SNL on Saturdays. Like, that's what's going to be. And
nobody watch SNL.
I do. I'm a real New Yorker. I'll still watch.
You're the one guy.
I watch it sometimes. Depends on the sketch. That Hunting Wives one with Aubrey Plaza was funny as hell.
Yeah, that was funny. But I think him farming this for clips and for like some punches at Cuomo, but like more messaging, this is what I'm going to deliver. That's what's going to play on CNN, MSNBC, and all the news channels going forward. And I think I think you're right, Jake. The over-explaining in the beginning is what's going to get cut on Republican channels, Fox and Daily Wire and whatnot. They're going to use that.
That'll be
he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's trying to avoid the question, blah, blah, blah. But again, those are people who are already in the bag for that. So I think he did all right. I think he, the worst he could have done was stay neutral. Stay like you guys said, his support from the primary till now has maintained. All he has to do is maintain. Yeah. And what's going to happen in the second one, I don't know, but it's going to be even less viewers. But again, we're going to have fun with it next week. Folks, that's my time.
It's 10 o'clock. Anybody got to go?
I got to run. I got an early shift tomorrow.
Got to do. Take care, buddy.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yeah, it was nice to pop in to see you live.
Yes,
see you, buddy.
Sandy, nice to meet you. And both Sandys. and Ginger and Hank and Jeff.
Get home safe.
Take care, buddy. Yeah.
I'm the elder.
You're taking the subway, right? Just like Curtis Lewa.
Down there all night.
I am also going to skedaddle.
Okay. See you, Jake. Good job covering it on your channel. We're
going to have an offline conversation.
Jake,
and thank you, by the way, for promoting it. I got
hundreds of people, Jake. Hundreds of people. I went in there.
That was crazy.
Like, how did it happen?
Well, I figured out exactly what happened, and this is not a joke. Every time I was on screen, this is not a joke, viewership goes down, down, down. And every time I made it full screen, viewership would way up.
Watch it. You're leaving. Watch it spike when you're gone.
I mean, where do you think most of the chat came from, and how did you publicize that you were doing it?
I didn't publicize it at all. The chat came from you guys. You are all angels. Also,
that's amazing.
Are welcome.
They've got to use a job.
I was
All right,
thrilled.
take care, Jake.
See how many
See you around, buddy.
I
Let me
love
see
Jake.
Jake.
I love Jake. My
Let's
God.
watch another clip. This is an amazing thing. We have we probably won't show all these, but we have upwards of 20 clips from the debate. It's fully clipped.
Brian,
It's
funny.
all
He's funny.
thanks to Jet, who has been working tirelessly
Jet.
behind the scenes while doing this in real time.
Making
Which, I
clips.
mean, outside of cable news, who's doing that online? And so I think that's a level up. But
Very nice.
also
Thank you, Jet.
in the chat
Look,
moderating. Which
let me
is
just interrupt.
double
Sorry.
duty.
I've
What
worked
a machine.
Go ahead. Yeah, talk to me.
major kudos to getting these clips together. I've worked in TYT and other places like broadcast nights with a lot of crew, getting all these clips together. It takes a ton of organization just to pull this and having clips ready to play and it. So whoever's behind the scenes is doing that deserves accolades for that.
Yeah, when they're doing it live
Bravo.
like that.
Fucking cool, right? And
It's
so
hard. It's easy to screw that up. Yeah.
Yeah, and
There's so many ways this stuff goes bad.
I can't
yeah.
even tell you how thankful I am that I didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
So, the biggest
Feel
win
that,
right here.
yeah.
I thought you
geez.
did. I was like, you
No,
made this
that
look
would
easy.
be-
He's got all these clips. He was just sitting there watching it. What
I
the
am
hell?
not
You have
that
a guy.
guy,
Yeah.
dude. I am not that guy. We are.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we are working. But this is these roles feel like jobs sometimes. It's very, very cool. It's working class. It just is. Alex jumped on here straight from work, and he went until he had to go to bed for work. Look at this. We got to rescue people from.
I jumped here straight out from the bathroom, so
There you go.
I jumped here from
Under the
bedroom.
Last 2 days have been rough.
Let's watch another clip.
Christina, I'm sorry, hon.
I
This
think I
is,
got I think I had a neurovirus or something.
I
got-
answered you on your post on.
Oh, did I wish you happy
Facebook.
birthday, by the way, Christina?
Yeah.
Oh
happy
yeah,
birthday,
my birthday was
Christina.
last week. Yay!
Happy birthday.
Happy.
Let's watch another
Happy
clip
birthday.
about how the
Me and
candidates
Cardi B
will work.
share a birthday.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, well,
Okay.
me, Emily Dickinson, I think
Fred
Adolf
Trump,
Hitler
but
are all
whatever.
Sagittarius. So go figure.
I share
Okay.
a birthday with income tax day.
I don't think Adolf Hitler is Sagittarius. I honestly don't know. So
Just threw it out there.
Um,
It's in the chat
let's watch.
somewhere.
I was conceived during JFK's assassination.
Oh, cool! I actually believe that.
During it.
That sounds believable.
Yeah.
Like as being a school bus driver. So
Hitler was a Taurus.
okay, good. Shoo. So official. Nothing in common. All right, check this out. This is Trump versus the candidates a little bit more.
Be able to stand up to this White House. How are you not compromised? And just take into account that New Yorkers are troubled by what they view as a compromised relationship the current outgoing mayor has with the president.
Yeah. First, you're wrong when you say there's any investigation of me. That's not true.
Do you have evidence there is no
I've heard
investigation?
absolutely nothing. Congress did a press release. They said they sent a letter to the Department of Justice, which they do routinely to generate press, and that's what that is. I fought Donald Trump. He investigated me repeatedly with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice Inspector General said that it was actually politically motivated. That does not back
So
me
what?
up. When I'm fighting for New York, I am not going to stop. And I'll tell you something else. If the assemblyman is elected mayor, Donald Trump will take over
we
New
have
York
to-
City, and it will be Mayor Trump
fear.
who runs New York
we
City.
have to move on very quickly.
Mayor,
Yes,
a
sir,
downgrade from
you're saying
president, by the way.
unequivocally the Justice Department is not investigating you, correct?
I've heard.
Okay, I think the most interesting thing there is what does he mean Trump will be mayor of New York City?
He's just using fear that he'll take over
he's
for Mom
embellishing.
Donnie.
He's
He'll make
embellishing
Mom
the
Donnie
fear.
step away. Pretty much what he's saying. He's saying he will take over and Mom Donnie will be powerless.
Right, but how? How does that work?
Because
What
Donald,
logistically?
because Andrew is using. There is no
He's just
way
talking
out.
about funding.
No, there
He's
is no
talking
how.
about withholding.
It's just
funding?
fear.
I mean,
It's just
such
fear.
a
Porn. It's all
stupid
garbage.
thing to say.
It was a
Yeah.
stupid thing to say. Of course, he had to get it in about the funding because Donald Trump is a stupid moron. So they're going to do this. But who's
I
behind
think-
Donald that's telling him, whispering in his ear, well, then just don't fund New York City. His city.
Yeah.
Trump
That's
City.
his whole thing, withhold
Yeah.
funding for everything. But it's just like, do what I say or you don't get paid. But I think that we have to watch out and see if liberals run with that line.
Yeah, and so there you go. Yes,
Yeah.
it's left-wing people that pick up right-wing rhetoric is a
Serving
huge
that
problem in this party, and they don't research this stuff, or they don't care to research it either. So that's very important. What Matt's saying there is because just because all of us go, well, no, he can't do that. That doesn't mean that one of your buddies isn't going to be at one point say, well, what if Trump just takes over? Is it going to be worse for everybody if Mom Donnie gets in and then just Trump takes over?
Yeah.
They've used it against us a million times.
Bullshit. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I'm just, so that's what I'm paranoid about. I'm paranoid about how the establishment Democrats and moderates use this shit against, they fight harder against the left than they do the right. And it's the one thing that I think we all need to be like, on our toes about at all times.
Yeah.
And it ain't new either. They've been doing that for a long ass
Support
time.
a sexual harasser. They're going to bitch and moan and put orange turd down and all of it. And then they're going to support somebody who's just as bad or maybe worse.
Donald Trump Jr. And Mom Donnie just has to be fearless. That's really what it has to be. Where Kamala's campaign made mistakes was not pushing harder. Like, she pushed really hard at one point, and then at one point it just turned off, right? It was like somebody in her campaign said, you're going too far. You're going too far. You're going to push away Republicans. You're going to push away conservative votes, which is just stupid to even think about in the first place. Nobody conservative was going to be voting for Kamala Harris. And Mom Donnie has to not do that. Mom Donnie did a really good job tonight. I like Jake's criticisms. Those are important. But I think Mom Donnie, what he did well tonight is he didn't flip-flop on the things that people do care about for him. He didn't start saying, oh, well, buses are going to be okay and you guys are just scared. Just like, don't worry about it. It's going to work out. Or maybe we won't do it. Maybe we won't, know? And then, the stuff to do with Israel, he avoided the questions, and that's probably the smartest thing to do in some of those places. But he didn't sell out people, and that's where Democrats make mistakes.
Right. I think that's where I disagree with Jake the most on this. His assessment is essentially that there were points where Mamdani sounded like a politician or whatever, and
well, he
had polished answers or whatever. But the thing that pisses people off about somebody sounding like a politician isn't that they sound professional or that they have facts or whatever it is. It's more that they say something and then they back down and they triangulate and do all this bullshit. And Zoran didn't do any of that. They're trying, some people are trying to get him on he said defund the police and then he backed off of defund the police, or he
or his comments about Israel having a right to exist or whatever the hell,
or arresting Netanyahu.
He's clarified everything.
He's not backing down. He's not back down one step, and that's
he shouldn't.
I guess just where Jake and I disagree. From the perspective of what he's doing is essentially advancing his agenda at every opportunity, as opposed to triangulating like the Democrats do, backing off of their positions and really looking like a bunch of losers while they do it.
It resonates with people.
Do you think that this is here's the other thing I'm personally afraid of. When candidates are elected and they suddenly go, oh, all that shit I was saying, can't do it. It's really complicated, baby brains. You don't understand. Politics is tough.
Like
It's
Donald
difficult.
Trump ending the
So
Ukraine
do you
war
think
in a day. Oh, it's too hard.
But watching him become less fierce, maybe, I don't know, or more polished.
Effective.
Do you think that's
It's
people
always
are just oh shit, is he starting to do it? Or I don't think he is. But
no, it's always a possibility that's going to happen. And we've also seen, and again, I'm an AOC defender, but she definitely has, backed off on a lot of stuff to play the game. I still think that she hasn't backed off of a lot of significant things. She's definitely said some really stupid things, especially her comments about.
She's not good at playing politics. She's got good policies, but she's not the best at playing
She's very bad at politics, I think. But I guess my point is that that's always a danger, and it can't be, because I see this is one of my primary critiques of the American left. specifically the people that are like running around calling Zoran a Zionist right now or whatever the fuck.
Oh my
Yeah.
But
God.
like,
Yeah.
but they're essentially what they're doing, and you know, I don't want to be too mean to those folks, but I genuinely don't know what their theory of change is, what their theory of power is, or how they plan on changing anything if they're not going to engage in any of these structures that do exist. So like, you know, to a certain extent, you got to play the game. You're gonna get burned every now and then, and you know, you gotta, when you get a Fetterman, you gotta bury him. You know, you gotta make
Yeah,
him.
Democrats are considering primarying him now.
Yeah.
Remember when there was this entire controversy over some things that I think were worthy of criticism when it came to Jamal Bowman, specifically around Palestine and Israel, and you know, he was one of the strongest voices for a ceasefire in his time in Congress until he got yeeted.
And Cori Bush.
There's just Cori Bush. People did defend her, but she was just like leftists defended Cori Bush a lot more than they did Bowman. However, I don't know. It's just this sort of like pre giving up. It's like surrendering before, you know, the thing is going to happen. Just an expectation that leftists are going to disappoint you. So why even get involved? And it's just like, that's loser shit to me.
That's
you know
not
what I mean?
realistic. Yeah, it's not realistic. People.
Well, it's real. I mean, sure, people are going to disappoint you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like, people are going to disappoint you.
Yeah.
It's like guaranteed. But like, that doesn't mean that, you know, even if he backs off on this or that thing, which, you know, maybe he will, you know, at least a preponderance of what he's going to do is going to be better than, it's definitely better than a lot of the alternatives. And also what has been constructed within New York City DSA and also nationally has been an infrastructure that can potentially hold him accountable. When you have, you know, thousands of volunteers that are ready to go, when you piss them off, they won't be there for re-election.
Yeah. Well, you can't just put it on Mamdani. That's the thing. I interviewed Adam Mockler probably a year ago. And you know, he's a young dude and a big voice now. When I interviewed him, he only had like 70,000 subscribers, right? And during the interview, I asked him. I said, "Hey, man, yeah, only 70,000." And I said to him, I go, "What would you say to young people? What would you say to people your age that think that, you know, Joe Biden's not far enough left, or Kamala Harris, or whoever?" You know, insert Democrat, that they're not far enough left. And his answer was great. He said, to all the other young people out there, you have to recognize that every time that we get the chance to get a candidate in that furthers us further towards our goals, one step closer. He goes, that's 10 times better than somebody else getting in a candidate that takes 2 steps back. And I think the answer there is that, yeah, Mamdani, if he's doing it by himself, is not going to be able to accomplish all the things you do. You have to have a movement where we get other politicians in the door that can support him, that will support him. We've talked a lot about Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer and those guys not doing a good job of coming out and showing that support. Elizabeth Warren has come out and shown support for Mamdani. Bernie Sanders has shown support. Even Kamala Harris gave a lukewarm but supportive statement of Mamdani. And, you know, it's taking the little wins that you can get from those politicians that may be lukewarm on socialist or democratic socialist policy, and also at the same time primarying the shit out of people like John Fetterman.
Yeah.
And I want to just like say one other point really quickly, because I'm already seeing this happen with Graham Plattner. There are leftists who are, and I think this is worthy of conversation, but it's not worthy of just sort of like end it. But they're coming after Plattner for his military career, one, and the fact that he worked for Blackwater, which, I mean, like, he should definitely be questioned about that. And you know, that's just, I'm not saying it's out of bounds to talk about it,
but then he had to change a heart.
What's up?
And then he had to change a heart and was like, you know what, I'm a communist.
But like that's my point. Like, you can have that, but like, you have to give somebody an opportunity to change. I mean, like,
and the purity test.
If he hasn't, then fuck him, you know. But if he has, then go
and the
for
purity testing sinks ships. It does. It gets it goes too far, and we're not going to make those steps.
Nobody's perfect.
Always like that. And who's calling Mamdani a Zionist?
Dummies online
over his Twitter comments, where he legit said that the things going on, and this is something I've said. I tell people all the time. I'm like, I am prime candidate for getting canceled. I grew up in a trailer park. I am white trash. I have said many things in my life that people would find to be edgy or over the line, right? But my wife has made me a much better person over the last 20 years. And because of the fact that I now have
20 years.
Experience being around better people that have better ideas than I had growing up with people, right? My whole family's military, by the way, too. So I'm all the counselable. But we need paths to redemption for people. And it's a person's, what they do once given the path to redemption, that's important, right? Like I can't beat my wife and then have you guys show up and me being like, well, I'm sorry. And you guys be like, okay, we forgive you. That's not plausible, right? But if I, made a joke to a friend or say something, that's out of line and it was 8 years ago, and then you come to me and you say, hey, I heard this or I saw this, and I go, yeah, well, I recognize that was stupid. And since that happened 8 years ago, I've done much better things in my life and become a much better person. And if you're still like, well, it doesn't matter, we don't want you, then you're never going to win anything. You're going to lose, and you're going to lose, and you're going to lose.
Yeah, it's
if you find Jesus, though, you can immediately.
You can do that at the last second too.
Very last second. They call that the Constantine strategy.
It's funny too because I know a lot of older Jewish boomers from New York City who believe that Zohar Mamdani is probably the most anti-Semitic candidate this history's ever produced, and I'm like, he's literally said pro-ish Israel stuff. They're like, it doesn't matter, he's anti-Semitic. He said, I'm like, he never said. I'm like,
so bullshit.
He's never said. I'm like, you people want Andrew Cuomo, who's like Trump. They're like, he didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, he sexually harassed women in his cabinet. He's like,
so offensive.
They're like, no, he did not do that. I'm like, yeah, he did. I'm like,
Yes,
you're
he
just,
did.
I'm sorry, but if you support Andrew Cuomo, I'm sorry, but
Where's that selective memory coming from that they don't know this?
Yeah, exactly.
How?
Or they don't even care. I'm like, you do not care about women.
The cognitive environment here
Mamdani-
is very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the claim that
Go
Zohar
ahead.
Mamdani is anti-Semitic, I'm like, you're not even putting quotes. You're not even saying. You're just taking stuff that's been manipulated by the media to suggest he's saying these things, but he's not. We all know what he said about October 7th. He said it was horrific, shouldn't have happened, blah, 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 blah. But he also had to add that, Hamas is, or he had to add that Israel's also committing genocide, and they don't like hearing that too, because they don't think those two things are connected, which is
Perfectly reasonable statement, by the way.
history did not begin for Israel and Palestine on October 7th. That should happen
I wrote
in
an
1948.
I wrote an actual article on it in my Substack.
I want to address a question from the chat from Boston Brian, contributor
what's a good
to
one?
this space every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Check it out. Here's a question: are we putting too much stock and pressure on Mamdani and this race as far as its political impact nationally? Someone asked me that. I think about it a bit. Curious in your thoughts. We are sort of talking about politics in general. None of us. I'm not saying none of us have any, skin in the game as far as New York City goes. Maybe we have relatives there or we're born there. I don't know. Sandy, you're in New York State, but we're not going to vote in this election, right? So I'm paying attention to this because there's no other elections this year. I also think this says a lot for the left, how we should be operating. What do you guys think? Sandy, left of the box, you want to go first?
Yeah, it's kind of like what I see with the Canadian provinces, because you have one conservative province do really something shitty, but then you'll have another province go well, we can do that and then some. But the thing is that it can be reversed. So if you have a city start doing really progressive things, then other cities will start realizing what they have the ability to do and then be like, yeah, we can do that and then some. So these types of things, even though it's just one city, it's a big city, it has a ripple effect. And it starts to show other cities that these types of things not only are possible, but they're wanted and they're successful. And it makes the quality of life in these cities better for everyone, because right now we just keep on giving it to the right wing, because the right wing will make a city worse or they will make a state worse. And then the other ones will be like, well, we can do that and then some. And it's about time that we turn it around a little bit and have somebody like Zoran in, because he'll serve as an example of what it is possible to do on the left.
He seems up to the
100%
challenge.
agree with you, Sandy. Left of the box, Sandy. If I could, I look at it also from a different perspective, from the organizing side of things. So, like, what New York is doing right now, they're creating a model of what a campaign can look like in the biggest city in the world, or in the biggest city in New York, in the United States, the economic capital of the United States, and they are showing what kind of capacity needs to be built to win a citywide election. And hopefully, if DSA chapters, locally, in other places, want to go down that route and go down the route of running somebody for mayor, for example, you got two prime examples right now, Omar Fateh and Zoran. And so to the question of whether or not this is taking up too much space or putting too much stock, the only way that I would say that is yes, is because it's actually taking up so much air that you're not focusing also on the Fatehs of the world, that you're not focusing on other really important races. There's somebody running for lieutenant governor. Her name is Ghazla Hashmi. It's in Virginia. I live in Virginia right now. She's not like the most like she's not saying like, hey, let's take the capital away from the the ruling class or whatever. She's not saying redistribute power, but she is somebody who is a Muslim woman who is like standing strong for Palestine at the statewide level in fucking Virginia.
Yeah.
And so like the only way I would agree to that premise that Boston Bryant puts forward is that like the only reason that I would be like this is too much pressure on specifically Zoran is because it is taking attention away from other really exciting races. Even Plattner. Again, I have a friend who's running for Congress against Steve Scalise in Louisiana, and another one who's running for Congress next year against fucking Mike Johnson. Now, are they going to win? I don't know, but they're like legit class candidates.
What's funny is Fox News will put out an article that says, "Oh, Squad 2.0," and they list all these like really progressive lefties, and it's like, "Thank you for lumping them together with Zoran. This is great.
We needed that.
We should be doing this."
Yeah, give us some more. I now know who to try to reach out to for an interview.
Also, what it comes down to is Democrats need to abandon doing harm reduction, because this is the problem. Democrat gets in office, they don't do very little because Republicans get in the way or they make up some stupid excuse, right? And then nothing really changes. The material goods don't improve for most of the country, and so they listen to what Republicans have to offer. Mind you, it's very much riddled with racism and bigotry and whatever. They're like, yes, this is a change we need. They vote for it. Then they realize it's a disaster. They vote for the harm reduction candidate again, even though they could have went with the person who wants better, bigger change. And it's the same endless cycle every time. And it's like, we gotta stop doing abundance. We gotta stop just doing harm reduction, because it doesn't do enough. We're stuck in this cycle, and I don't think people realize that.
Well, mainstream Democrats don't literally run on good things are not possible, and Zoran is actually flying in the face of that. Omar Fateh is flying in the face of that, and others as well. Yeah. So I think it's important to shout that out. I do gotta go.
Thank you, Jeff.
I've got work in the morning.
Thanks,
gotta go talk to workers.
Jeff.
So I do want to say one really quick thank you again, Matt, for organizing this. I really do appreciate it, and I don't say it enough, but I'm really proud to be a part of this space. And I'm really happy to have met Hank and Angry Ginger and all the other folks that are really new. Yeah. Check out Good Morning Comrade, goodmorningcomrade.com. We're here on Tuesdays most of the time, me and Robert, and also check out my homie Robert with Lumencast.
Yeah,
I love you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right, buddy.
I'll reach out talk about TYT.
Hell yeah. Hit me on Discord or whatever.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hank, you look so familiar. I think I've watched you a bunch.
Hank is everywhere.
Yeah,
no. Hank has been on all the shows. Hank
all over. I know you, Hank.
I'm like old.
I know.
No, not
you're not
Eric.
I know
nice
you're
to meet you, Sandy. Though. Yeah.
Hank is oxygen.
Yes,
let's do this.
We have not been introduced. I've been on Letterhack a couple of times. So yeah, great.
Yeah, I know. I just can't
I'm withholding all my perfect takes, by the way. Everything I'm thinking is pristine and brilliant, and I'm just staying out of the way.
I trust you. I want to look at one more clip. Jet did such an amazing job getting us these clips in real time.
Thank you,
Want to
Chet.
look at one more?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we'll make these available to everyone in this space if you want to, use these going forward on your shows or whatever. I think that this will come in handy next week too if we are comparing and contrasting, answers
great, yeah.
from both debates. So let's look at this. This is about taxes and spending specifically. This is good stuff, and this I think is one reason why we're putting pressure on this race and this candidate in a national sense politically. It's like this is not just New York. This is everywhere.
Candidates, maybe we can dig deeper on this and get a sense of how
Look how
all of you
cute he
pay
is.
for your big ideas.
looks
Mr.
hot.
Ramdani, we'll start with you. We've obviously been talking about free buses. You've talked about free childcare, city-run grocery stores. So essentially, you're proposing about $10 billion in new spending. And as you've indicated, you want to pay for it with tax increases. But as Sally pointed out, Governor Hochul said no to raising income tax on millionaires. So tell New Yorkers tonight how you're going to pay for all of
Which is
this
stupid.
in 1 minute, if you can.
Look, a lot of people have called even my campaign a non-starter when we first began. And now I stand before you proud to be the Democratic nominee who got the most votes in city primary history. And I believe we will see the same thing with our push to ensure that we are taxing the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations the fair amount that they should pay. Now, there are those who will say that because it will be hard, you should give up. We saw what giving up looked like when Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He gave up on fighting for working class New Yorkers and instead caved in to his billionaire donors. And what did we get? We have the fastest and most frequent helicopter service to the Hamptons, and we have the slowest and more expensive bus service across the
I
five
thought
boroughs.
that was great.
But again, Mr. Ramdani, I know Governor Hochul indicated this week there may be some open windows, but more or less income tax on millionaires is off the table, according to the governor.
I don't
I've said very
understand
clearly,
that.
Making buses fast and free costs about $700
They're going to
million
leave
a
New
year.
York City
Making
if you
universal
tax
childcare a
them.
reality
Well,
costs about $5 or $6
she's
billion.
running, so she's going to say that.
Yeah,
that's
the thing.
That's
is,
one thing
like,
to remember is
her
that
coffers.
Yeah, people need to So this is the difference between the left and the right. Right? Is that my boss has a theory called the 3 short grunt theory, and that is that you can control anybody on the right by just 3 short grunts. Lock her up. Stop the steal.
That's how you train dogs. That's why you give dogs 2 syllable names.
So on the right,
know,
the crazier the numbers are, the more bombastic the statement, the more likely people are going to listen to it, right? But on the left, we need 9 paragraphs to explain anything, right?
Yes.
We're like,
how
okay,
you gonna pay for it?
because we're used to it, because we'll attack each other. If you say to me that you think X about Obama when he was in office, like this guy was saying about Cuomo caving in into billionaire donors, I could say, well, didn't Obama, didn't he do that? And you're like, okay, I've got to now explain why I'm defending that, and see, I'm doing it right now. And I just don't. I think kind of what Jake was saying was right about how much he was talking, but I also think it's necessary because we have to derive from what that person said that the reason that the governor is not saying this out loud, that she might tax these people, is because she's also running. So we have to figure that out. And he has a minute to explain to us how he's going to go about getting these funds to do this without saying certain things. And then he has to hope that the people that are watching are smart enough to not just throw him under the bus. And this is why it's very important that left-wing people calm down and stop attacking each other over really small things, because somebody could walk away from this going, yeah, actually that person's right. Like, yeah, Hochul's already said there's no millionaire taxes. Mamdani's going to fail. And now we once again, we self-destruct.
All or nothing.
It's just so amusing to me that everyone's like, we need to go back to the 1950s and 1960s. I'm like, when taxes on the corporate tax rate was like, it was high. And you were able to afford the American dream.
Oh, I love FDR.
Yeah,
we can do that.
Yeah, the New Deal, and we also, I mean, if you look at history. While we couldn't get Medicare for all, we understand the history of why we couldn't get these progressive policies in place after FDR, because corporations and organizations were trying to sway the polls to get people to hate Medicare for all and other
the Red
stuff.
Scare. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when I was volunteering, when I was working for the Bernie Sanders campaign in my state, the one question I got asked all the time when I was with my canvassing, they always come back to me and say, how's Bernie going to pay for all this? Because this is the one thing everyone asks. They're like, yes,
All the
policies.
time.
And so I was like, okay. I went against headquarters and found data that showed how Bernie was going to pay for his proposals and what you would pay as a taxpayer. A lot of it was like little to nothing, right? Because, that's how he kind of was basing his policies, based on like income brackets and whatnot. And so once we started doing that, a lot of people were responding more positively to the campaign. Yes, it got us in trouble, but a lot of people were like, but Christina has a point. People view Bernie Sanders as some crazy socialist who has no idea on how to afford these policies. We have to keep printing out this, alt literature that goes with the stuff that the campaign approves of. And because of that, we knocked on more doors in my town than the rest of the state of South Carolina combined.
Yeah,
that's amazing. It's to me, it's the richest country in the world. No spending cash.
No.
According to a 2025, that's this year for anyone not aware, there was a report by Henley and Partners that said New York City is home to 384,500 millionaires. That is almost 400,000 millionaires. That we're just talking about. Well, I mean, there's
Not a
more
lot of
millionaires in that one city than anywhere in the world. Does that mean that it's a safe haven? Like, hey, come here. We're not going to tax you. You can keep all that money. What is the fucking problem? Like, why brag about having all this money if you're not going to do anything?
They're going to say that New York City is ridiculously high to live in, and that if you have even apartments for young people, they have to shove 2 or 3 people in, or they live in 60 square feet apartments that are $1,800 to $3,600 a month. That anybody, even if you make $1 million a year in New York City, you are not living high on the hog in New York City.
So
that's the rationale.
Yeah, and let's look at. Oh, go ahead, Hank.
They're just that the project of demonizing taxes over the last several decades, if not the entire history of the country, probably. But like Americans experience paying their taxes as having their money stolen from them. We don't necessarily associate giving up some money and then getting something back for it. And that project has been incredibly successful, and we need to be like adults about this whole thing, that we should pay for stuff with taxes and then provide services to people in order to facilitate a society. Like,
so there you go.
Like simple, basic shit like that. And so, like, but like that chyron on the screen said taxes and spending, and might as well just say spending and spending. And I like, because yet we're also, like responsibly funding programs using taxes is also sort of looked down upon, because then you're spending. So like, no matter which way you do it, you can do that on debt or on deficit, or you can do it by actually taxing people. It's always going to be an uphill battle to get this culture to be okay with it, even though when Americans get services from their government, they love them. They are so protective of the big socialist programs from the 40s and the 50s that were expanded upon over the subsequent decades. But like,
very well said.
I'll stop at that.
But
no,
isn't that
it
right there? Is it needs that much of an explanation for people to understand it? Because
so what you say
the only
is,
way they feel it is taken for granted. If you go to a restaurant and you sit down and eat, you take for granted the fact that there is a Food and Health Administration that makes sure that the food you're eating isn't expired or left out on a counter for too long.
Just say this country runs on taxes. We should all be paying taxes. We should all be. I'm not saying I shouldn't. I'm saying that we should all be paying it, and some people aren't. Yeah. And if they did, they'd still be multimillionaires. They'd still have more money than they will spend in their lifetime. Like, there's no big deal here. Let's get over it.
And the government should seem invisible, basically. Like,
it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to have to worry about it. Yeah. Does anybody in this channel watch Gary's Economics?
No. Oh yeah, is he British?
British. Every person in this channel, every left-wing person should be watching Gary's Economics.
He's always wearing like he's going to the gym.
Right? You know, but he's wealthy. Yeah. So this is something Aristotle talked about a long time ago, and that is you can have wealthy people in your society, but if you don't have a welfare state that takes care of the people that get things done. Eventually, those people rise up and take away from you the things that you like the most.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And that's 2,000 years ago. Aristotle understood it. Aristotle understood a lot of stuff. But Gary's economics, his whole channel is based around the fact that he was a trader during the housing collapse and then again during COVID. And he bet on the fact that there would be huge wealth transfers during those times in the market, and he made all of his money off of that. And he says, why do you think when people's main like criticism will be like, well, you took advantage of that, you're wealthy, like you're just as bad as anybody else. And he goes, but I also understand that if regular people aren't happy, eventually it's going to get taken away from me because things are going to continue to get worse. The wealth gap's going to get bigger and bigger. And he's like, this isn't, he's British, right? So he says, this isn't a British problem because this is a global problem. He goes, eventually this is going to happen throughout the world and you're going to have just deep unrest. I mean, MIT called this 70 years ago, or 1970. So 55 years ago when they set up their model for when society would collapse. Right. And we're right on track with that because when they talk about society collapsing, they're talking about socio-economic, climate, everything, the whole thing. Somebody, I think it was my wife, said, well, hold on, what do you mean that the world's going to collapse? I go, oh, do you want me to explain that? Because it's taking me about 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's not
I mean, it's
watch any doomer channel.
It's like easy enough to say that, if capitalism either is a really good thing that everyone benefits from, or it just gets to a point where the have-nots are the majority. And in order to maintain the status quo, they need to implement some sort of fascism or authoritarianism, right?
They
And
have
like
to.
put everyone
That's
on
where it goes.
lockdown. It's exactly what happens. And it's like,
Aristotle
look
said it.
around,
Yeah.
right?
If,
So
if they can
I talk about
negotiate, if they can negotiate our poverty, then we can negotiate their luxury.
yeah, I mean, it's that easy.
Those
That
two
really-
concepts are the same thing, actually.
It's the same. It's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like I said, Aristotle called it. He said he didn't have the idea of what we have, with communism and stuff, obviously back then, but he knew the idea, right? And he said that at one point or another, it goes to oligarchy, and he understood oligarchy, and he had it as one of his vile forms of government. And that is because once you put that much power into those few hands, then obviously you only represent the interest of very few, not the many. And he said any constitution that is written should always be written with the greater happiness of the populace in mind. And that greater happiness of the populace is just as important to the regular person as it is to the ultra wealthy. Because you don't get to exist in any type of happiness if we don't, because eventually the populace rises up. And that's what happened with Lenin,
What are you reading, books?
Yeah,
He
politics,
sure
Aristotle
does.
politics.
I wish the
Also
time
read
scale was a
ethics.
little quicker on that, though. That's
It's so funny because like my sister,
No, thanks for saying that, though.
when my sister's a little drunk, she becomes a little bit more left wing than she is.
Oh,
She accidentally voted, but she's a big Clinton fan. She accidentally voted for Trump in 2016. She's like, I was trying to press Hillary, but it clicked on Trump, and I'm like, yeah, whatever.
What?
But she's like,
America.
she's like, Democrats. She's like, Democrats offered nothing. I'm like, they did offer nothing. She's like, but they were focusing on woke and DEI and like trans issues. I'm like, no, they were not. They abandoned that shit by the time halfway into Trump's first term. I'm like, what? I'm like, you don't pay attention as much as you think you do because most of your sources are like mainstream media, outlets or whatever. You need to watch like Majority Report, The Space, I've Had It podcast.
yeah.
IHIP is the best.
It's
Yeah,
like
I love IHIP.
you're a teacher in New Jersey,
can't bring mine in here.
and apparently the superintendent in Middletown has their own show on like Newsmax now, and I'm like, I thought you're supposed to be nonpartisan, and she's like, we're supposed to be, but I guess not. But it's rich white people.
Well, as long as
Where
you don't
she
say anything
teaches.
negative against Israel, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's watch just a little bit more of that clip from earlier because his response is like, again, this is something we should be doing everywhere all the time.
If you
Everywhere
raise the
all at
state's
once.
top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, you'd be raising
Okay.
$5 billion in and of itself.
I have a couple of
And
follow-ups.
I would
Sleeper,
just-
you're next, but I have a couple of follow-ups.
I would just add one additional thing. We have also
wanna
put
shut him
forward a
down.
plan to save money here in
That's
New York
good.
City with $1 billion in
Like
savings through procurement reform, through following the independent budget office's assessment about hiring more fiscal auditors, and in actually
Okay.
collecting the fines and fees from bad landlords across the state.
Just a quick couple of
government.
follow-ups. If you could find
There you
some
go.
of the funding, but not all of it, which of your priorities would come first? What would be the first among equals that you would try to get done?
Well, freezing the rent doesn't require any fiscal infusion, so that will be something we'll be pursuing immediately. And universal childcare, after housing, is the second cost. Childcare is the second cost pushing New Yorkers out of this city. $22,500 a year is the estimate we've seen.
Okay.
That will be a priority for us.
And I just want to know if you could get the money and funding elsewhere, would you drop the call for the tax increase?
Absolutely. The most important thing is funding these agenda items. I think these are the two most important and straightforward
Do
direct ways to
both.
do so. But if the money comes from elsewhere, the most
Thank
important
you.
thing is funding.
Melissa has a question for Mr. Slewa.
See, so they're like, okay, this sounds good, but we could probably still leave the millionaires alone, right? Fuck them. They'll still be millionaires. This is insane to me. Like, I'll never, and like, okay, fine, he's playing politics and saying, yeah, just fund the program and everyone will benefit.
He's also talking about procurement, which is purchasing power in the city, and cutting or looking at what they're purchasing. It's like the old waste, fraud, abuse, but it's not a bad thing. Having done audits in multi-million-dollar situations, in my career, so that's not a bad thing. These are things that are good to look at. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit that goes on in purchasing departments. There is. So, good.
Well, I had a great night. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought this went very well. I was like telling people, hey, it could be a boring debate. We might not have anyone show up to hang out in the all-in phase, but look at this. I mean, this was great. We had this here. Hold on. I'll actually show you. I think I still have it. I took a screenshot at one point. Sorry, I didn't make sure everyone looked their cutest. When I do that, but
you don't have to worry about me.
This was the big moment where I was like, oh, okay, there's 9 of us. So pretty cool. It's the lefty bunch. So look, I really do appreciate everyone coming on. I want to make sure everyone has a chance to plug their stuff again. I'm starting with Canuck up there, America's Cowboy
I
Hat.
have to go watch her video right after that.
Now, I figured it'd be easier for me to go by Connect while Sandy's also in here.
Makes sense. That does make sense. We want to watch a short of yours to promote your upcoming. Actually,
I posted a Charlie Kirk video called "Charlie's No Angels" on the Charlie Kirk National Day of Remembrance, which was on the 14th, which would have been his birthday.
Yeah.
And then I did a live stream right after that to talk about it. But this is a short clip that somebody asked me to clip as a short from that video. The video itself is about an hour and a half long, and it's full of emotions, both angry, happy, sad, all of that.
I got it.
All right. Here, I got it. Okay. Here. Let's check it out. Volume should work.
Of course, Matt Walsh, another prominent right-wing tart, took to Twitter. All that Charlie ever did was have conversations with people. He didn't insult anyone. He made arguments. He debated. He wasn't an extremist in any way. Everyone who knew Charlie personally loved him. That's the kind of guy he was. And they still killed him. I am furious and heartbroken in equal measure. I cannot put into words how I feel. Maybe that is for the best. Hey, generic AI, can you rewrite Matt's tweet, but make it honest?
All that Charlie ever did was have bad faith conversations with people. He insulted everyone. He made mouth sounds. He argued. He was an extremist in every way. Everyone who knew Charlie kissed his ass. That's the kind of guy he was. And they, an ambiguous pronoun I can use to otherize anyone on the left I don't like, still killed him. I don't need proof for the claims I make. I am performatively furious and heartbroken, not that I have a heart. I just put into words how I feel. Maybe that is for the worst.
That's good.
Holy shit. Yeah, I gotta go watch this right after.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Fill up my wood stove and go watch this.
Giving that a like. That was great.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, very, very, very well done. On point. good hook for the rest of the video. We're all going to check that out.
Thank you for showing it. Yeah, I used the Google Translate. I just popped the words in there, and you can hit play to listen to it, and I just recorded that for the voice.
Oh.
I did a fake AI
so
one
goddamn
time.
creative.
I did a fake AI asking for praise and just played like a clip of Emma saying, "We love the letter hack. We love their work." From the Majority Report. I was like, the yours was so much more effort. That was amazing. It's really good. Okay, so I do once again, like, sincerely thank you so much for this, and thank you so much for everything you guys do for the collective and the channel. It's such a big deal. Still, five months in, I still cannot believe it's a real thing and it's happening, and it just only gets better, and it's all because of you guys. So please, like, let's just go around and start with you, Christina. And I hope, thank you for enduring. Like, I know you've been under the weather. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Happy birthday again. What do you got?
So you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/cosmopolitics, and over on Movie Night Extravaganza, we're doing Witch Month. We just got done doing The Witch, Robert Eggers' first big film, and we're gonna be doing Kiki's Delivery Service with Alex. Devil's Advocate Productions, The Love Witch, and then Weapons. Close on out, followed by Noir Month, and it's gonna be a lot. I'm already psyched for Oscar season. That's where I'm really.
That's next.
Code and I are like big into that.
Cool.
And streaming politics and pop culture, watching the soap opera Dark Shadows on most Saturdays. People love that. I'm just
great.
I'm just here, and I've been sick with Dirtfall. Look that up, translated from German to English if you want to know what that means. The last 2 days or so, I don't know what happened, but I was sleeping in bed.
Norovirus, like you said.
Yeah. But Dirtfall means in German. So
we got it.
Oh, I was gonna say I'd love to be bedridden for a few days, but
not like that.
Not like that. Remember
that
last year how sick I was a couple of left past tenths? I got some kind of norovirus. I had a lousy time.
Canuck, was that sufficient plug for you for your video and everything?
I can plug a bit more. So yes, please check out my Charlie Kirk video. I put so much work into it. I'd really appreciate it getting some traction.
And
also, you can check out my live streams. I usually do Sunday evenings about Canadian politics and more, as well as I'm on This Space, this weird channel called This Space, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, and I talk about stuff.
Yep.
It's been pretty random. I also wrote a book, perfect for Halloween. It's a vampire horror.
You did? Yeah, it's my coffee table book. I love it. I got to get one for my daughter, too.
You'll have to tell me what you think of it. But, I love this book so hard. Sequels and prequels are planned. What else? Yeah. Follow me on all my social medias. And everyone here rocks. Also, give a big thumbs up to Nicholas for being the producer.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Producer Nick. Rockstar.
100%. Yeah.
Hank, what do you got?
I just wish we had vampires for every holiday. That was just thinking there. We have a Halloween vampire story. We need Valentine's. We need Arbor Day.
Christmas.
Where's the calendar
vampire.
day?
Easter.
Well,
Yeah.
Christmas is
Jesus
capitalism,
vampire.
I guess. It is the vampire of all. Winners and Losers is my YouTube channel, where you can also go to tellthetruthjank.com for information about the documentary. It's a feature-length documentary about the battle for workplace dignity at the home of progressives.
I saw
You can find links to there's a trailer at the top, but just look right above that for the 84 minutes of the film that are currently available. Bit of a weird project. It's taken a long time. I'm hoping to rally a big wind of solidarity to get to finish it. Huge thing, actually. And
It's still relevant.
Absolutely. I mean,
it's not losing steam.
The themes that are at play are labor. It was a classic labor fight that turned into a political drama, and now it's a media cover-up. The Young Turks lied to their audience about why we unionized, and I just refuse to let Cenk Uygur have the last word on why a union started at his company. Because fuck that guy. And well, that's bullshit. That I think a union story deserves to be told. I think the unionizing effort goes until the story is also public. forcing your worker's story to remain in the shadows is a scummy thing to do. See, I'm getting on my thing here.
Thank
It's
you.
really shitty to treat your people like that, and let alone erase their story. So I'm asking for people to help me. Anyway, I'll get back into that when you all have me on your shows to talk about it. I would love to have you guys on my show. Thank you for having me on tonight. I do some video game streams on Suck Professor. That's one of the YouTube channels I did for over the years. I've leveled up a bunch my video editing from that channel, so you can watch me play some video games and ramble. That's the stuff I put up lately. It was like movies and commentary shows, discussions, all sorts of shit. I've also abandoned about 15 different YouTube channels of different types.
Oh, nice. That's a record.
Yeah, I've tried a lot of them. Yeah, I tried one for aquariums. I tried one for cats to watch. I also tried one for patriotic cats. That one's called Stars and Swipes. I've done a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're all like have like 4 videos.
Swipes?
Stars and Swipes. Yes.
I have 7 cats.
If you want to film them on a green screen, and then it was getting cats to play with American flags with the national anthem playing using military bands, because those bands are copyright free.
Wow.
You can go to find it right now. Stars and Swipes. I think I did 2 different cats. And honestly, I think that one had legs. You just gotta. The persistence is the trick to this business, to doing anything successfully online, which is why I failed at it completely.
Yeah.
But anyway, so thanks for having me on, guys. TellTheTruthJank.com though. Next year, I'm hoping to finish it at some point, but I've got a fundraiser I'm going to be pushing soon. Good. I've learned the hard way why you don't make documentaries by yourself. It's usually a big team effort with funding, and this is an odd one, but I just sort of found myself trapped in this weird story, and I was like, you know what? I'm aspiring to be a filmmaker. This is in the weird middle of this weird political drama. Let me tell the story. And it happens to also be, Cenk Uygur at the center of it, but it's about the workers, not him, because it's not a movie about him. So
appreciate
about
you for
standing
that
up
effort.
for yourself.
Terrific, Hank.
Yeah, sorry, I went too long.
No, you didn't.
Thank
That's
you so
that's
much.
good.
Yeah.
I
I'll be
want to
back.
hear about all 15 abandoned YouTube channels someday.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Shelf
Let's
Life
get that number
Aquarium,
up. I mean, now I want to
16.
start and
Stars
stop.
and Swipes.
shit
I did a
too.
woodworking one too, but I was a professor.
Stars and
apprentice.
Swipes.
In here.
Yeah.
What did you choose?
AG, what's up, Angry
These are awesome.
Ginger?
Yeah, like I said, I do my show on Wednesdays and Saturdays, 5 p.m. Pacific on my channel, The Angry Ginger. And of course, I have a show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Thanks
as
for letting
well.
us use your time and for
Yeah.
hanging out with us. Yeah.
This is a good use of it. And like I said, it's not it's nothing big, nothing all that crazy. I started making fun of MAGA 3 years ago, calling them weird. And the left said I was too mean and that I shouldn't make fun of mentally ill people. And now the left has figured out that I'm not mean, that I'm based, and that you should mock MAGA, and you should have been making fun of him this whole time. And whether it's the guy in a frog suit in Portland, or AOC saying that Stephen Miller is 4'10", the left needs to grow a spine and recognize that they need to stop fighting with the people in their own party and start fighting with the fascists across the street from them. So that's me, and that's what I do. And I'm just always happy to be on here. And thank you, Matt, for putting up with me.
Heck yeah, no problem.
I think you'll like my video, my Charlie Kirk video. You'll
sure I
probably
will.
really like it.
I think I'm gonna really like it too.
Environmental coffee house, political coffee house.
Yeah.
What
I've
is
had a
going
couple
on?
of channels. What, that you don't know from last night? I did my show today on this space, Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, and I cover politics, but an environmentally. Most everything is environmental or climate or whatever, something that has to do with our beautiful blue dot, our beautiful planet. I'm on my channel Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday night left past 10, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, and then so far we're doing every other Saturday with Antonio, but I think we've changed it. I think we're going to do Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. But Sandy, then what time are you on?
I usually start at like 6 and go till death.
That's right. Well, we're not sure, but I'm trying to get my schedule in because I also have this homestead, and I'm here tomorrow harvesting cabbage and Brussels sprouts and trying to clean up, and I have foster cats, 7 of them, and I do all this myself. So yeah.
That's amazing. And after YouTube took away your channel unfairly, it was a mistake for like 4 months. Like you bounced right back. Very, very nice. I want to show one more silly clip. I think some people have seen this. It's actually it's more like this guy's like a hero for doing it than it is like funny or humorous. But it's that too. So this is this Cuomo impersonator who's been interrupting the shit out of him. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I do want to show it. So let's just, this is how we'll wrap things up tonight with some levity.
I am Cuomo. I know I make people feel uncomfortable. That is my entire brand. Right? I am Andrew Cuomo. Okay. I am the real Andrew Cuomo. And if you are a billionaire, I will support your rights. I will support you. If you are an oil exec, I will support you. No matter what. This man is not telling the truth. The press is here for me. They want to hear from me. Andrew Cuomo, please. Don't put your
funnier.
I am a mayoral candidate. Although I lost the Democratic primary, I will not take no for an answer. I do not take no for an answer.
Not to the women.
Ever. Not when it is the electorate, not when it is a woman in my...
There we go.
The joke is over.
The joke is over.
Yes, do you see this crowd? All 15 New Yorkers have come to support me. Wait a second. Come here. Come here.
I have to send this to my mom.
Come on. Yeah, give me a little kiss. I'm Italian. Give me a little kiss. We're scaring the children.
Oh, yeah, it's a Walter Masterson. Yeah.
I'm Italian. And give
As
me a
soon
kiss.
as they told him the joke was over, it like went up a notch.
it's
Like he
amazing.
really turned it on.
I'm laughing so hard I'm crying. Oh my God, I know
was
men
good.
like that.
That was a good scent of a woman impression.
Hoo-ah! Hoo-ah! All right, thanks again, everybody, for coming on. I really appreciate it. We're gonna consider doing this again next Wednesday. We'll see. We just got to make sure it's cool with everyone in their regular slots, that we run over their time. But thanks again. I really do appreciate it. This was awesome. That's it for this space. We'll see you all next time.